Welcome back, guys, to basically the last weekend of the BSL. I am Naukin, joined by Gypsy. Today, we're not in the third or finals match. It's just going to be the semifinals, and we're going to find out what those matches are tomorrow. Mihai, we've got some exciting matchups. We've got Bonyth versus Sziky, then Terra versus True Touch. And on Team Liquid, we had some interesting predictions, to say the least.
I don't know what those predictions
Oh,
are.
you didn't read it?
No, of course not, dude. That would imply that I read Team Liquid. But today, obviously, we have a star-studded lineup. Just four of the best players. You know, like you would expect these four players to make it this far into the tournament. So definitely super exciting. And I think we're gonna be starting it off with just a sick matchup between what is it, Bonyth and Sziky, right?
Yeah, Bonyth and Sziky is going to start us off today. It's going to be a Protoss versus Zerg. And I'm looking at Discord and seeing that bans and maps have already been chosen. And my boy Powerbond, he's gone, man. We're not going to see him in this series.
No one likes him, man. Honestly, I played a couple of games on it. It's a pretty good map.
It is good.
Yeah.
What was the other... We had it last season, right? The 3-player map, that's the white map. We see it often. What is that map?
The white
map? It was also
map?
on ladder?
Whiteout?
No.
Optimizer?
No. It was a ladder map. It's same tile set as Power Bomb.
Oh, Reap the Storm.
Yes, Reap the Storm. It's like Reap the Storm,
That's
except I like.
When you say white map, I thought you mean like the the snow tile set, dude. Come on.
My bad. Yeah, Reap the Storm.
What do you mean the white? That's like metal, man. Circuit Breaker, the white map.
My bad.
Yeah, that white map. Yeah.
The metal map. The metal map.
Yeah, the metal.
Powerbond is one of my favorite maps to play on, but not in ladder, so I don't get to play it very often. But yeah, it's gone already. And then I see that Bonyth, in a shocker, has been Blue Storm. And that means that we're gonna have Shakuris first.
Yeah, Shakuris is gonna be. I mean, I don't know. Like Sziky is very comfortable on that map. Shakuris is actually a terrible map for Protoss in general. I mean, PvT, PvZ, you name it. We saw, what was it? Was it who was playing against the Waltz? Oh, it was Gornich on Shakuris.
Gornich. Yes, Gornich.
Mm-hmm. Remember that game? And he won.
I remember that game because I'm watching. I'm like, is DeWalt gonna get eliminated? Because
I mean, not just that, but we saw DeWalt also struggle versus Cross on the same map at the beginning of the season. So definitely a very tricky map for Protoss because obviously in that mid game, Zerg has such priority on the map, and then they have the high ground to work with, and then they have a bunch of expansions to work with. So overall, just a really good map for Zerg.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about that map. That has how many bases? There's like 15 bases on that map.
Yeah.
There's just an absurd amount of resources.
And they all have gas.
Yeah, and they all have gas. Now, you would think that, okay, every base has gas. That would be pretty good for Protoss because there's like no mineral only. So if you get 4 gases, all of a sudden, Archon Man, he's going to be making a return. And I don't know. But Zerg... Yeah, we had very good results so far in BSL, and of course the map statistics heavily in favor of Zerg on that particular map. So no shocker that Sziky ended up picking that map. I am a little bit surprised that Tau Cross got through.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you can only ban 2 maps.
Well, there's 7, 2 maps, and there's 7 maps, and they banned, what was it? Powerbond and then Blue Storm. That's right. So we're gonna see Blindside, maybe.
Yeah, if we get to Game 5, we're gonna see Blindside. That's gonna be the last map of the day. The order is Shakuris, Tau Cross, Eclipse, Polypoid, and Blindside. So at least we're gonna get 2 of the 3 standard ladder maps in the first 3 games.
Yeah.
But yeah, according to Team Liquid, Sziky is gonna have. Well, actually, predictions were Sziky's going to win. Now, I don't know about that, but Sziky's got a good shot, especially since he was given first pick. Zero was discussing on Discord that Bonyth had priority to get first, or decision on who bans first, and he allowed Sziky to ban first, which allows him to also pick first. Meanwhile, on the other side of the bracket, True Touch decided that he's going to ban first and pick first. So an interesting strategy from Bonyth here. Even though he doesn't get first pick, what is nice for him is he gets to basically decide the fourth match, which also determines the deciding match.
Yeah. Yeah, the last two maps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, that is a gamble, especially in a best of series. It's such an advantage to win the first game, like just in every way possible, mentally, mathematically. I don't know. I mean, you want to win that first game, so giving that advantage away to Sziky is going to be difficult, but at the same time, if Bonyth wins on Sziky's map choice, that's going to be even better for him, so we'll have to see if that works out. Of course, later today, we are going to also have Terror versus True Touch, which promises to be very exciting. I don't actually remember ever seeing these two players play, though that might be just me. I'm sure we'll have some confirmation on that at some point, but that's going to be exciting later today. Sziky versus Bonyth, though, players are getting ready to play. You know, we'll get there at some point.
Oh, I thought you were going to hit me with Ready to Rumble. I know you've been watching a lot of WWE, WWF.
Are you ready to... Okay, I'm going to...
Yeah, that's what the people want.
Yeah, instead of prepare for battle, says Zero. Man, yeah, I have been watching a lot of WWE. It's just hilarious. I forget that you're American sometimes, Dan, and then the fact that you know anything about wrestling, I'm like, wait a second, that's kind of weird, but then it's not. I feel like Virginians are probably really into wrestling.
Actually, my best friend growing up, he really liked wrestling, and on the, what was it, N64, we used to play that WWF wrestling game.
Yeah.
Time. And I would always talk nonsense the whole time.
Who was your go-to pick?
Who was it? Like Triple H, I think.
Oh my God!
I can't remember. We didn't have we didn't have the very old school.
I'm not. No, I mean me neither. You know, but I would never pick Triple H. Are you serious? I'm like, that was close. I'm a Steve Austin fan, man, or The Rock, obviously. Yeah, Stone Cold, man. Dude, Stone Cold had the best. Okay, I don't know if I sent you this video. There's this video, guys, on YouTube. It's this posh Englishman that's like in the middle of a WWE ring.
I saw it.
And he's starting to read Hamlet to like this crowd of American audience, and he's like, you know, you guys are this institute of learning, you know, whatever. He's just basically antagonizing the audience, and then he starts reading out of Hamlet. And then out of nowhere, Stone Cold comes in, his music starts playing, walks to the ring. What is it? Gives him the stunner and then walks out. Yeah. Dude. Absolute legend.
Well, I can tell you, not an absolute legend. We've got him on the right here, Bonyth. And actually, Sziky needs to be worried that Bonyth might just show up today, hit him with the stunner, and leave quickly with a 3-0. We know Bonyth has that in his arsenal. He can easily defeat players in a best of X series pretty much without any single loss. So let's see if Sziky can actually be a threat versus Bonyth. We're going to kick off today with Bonyth versus Sziky. First map is going to be Shakuris in this best of 5 series. All right, in the bottom right, our Zerg player, it is Sziky.
And in the top right, in that blue Protoss, it is Bonyth. And Nayokin, I gotta ask you this because I just noticed. But where did you get your chair?
Where did I get my chair?
Yeah.
I bought it from my friend.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get it online, but I know you can get them online.
What is it? It's like a... What brand is it?
Oh, it's a Secret Lab.
Oh, okay.
Chair.
Yikes, that's...
The Tempo Storm one. Yikes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one of my friends was on Tempo Storm.
Yeah. Wow, well, name dropping.
I didn't drop any names.
You think that's better than an IKEA chair?
It might be a little better.
Yeah?
Yeah, a little better. Is that what you got?
Well, yeah, I have an IKEA chair. I've got the Marcus.
The Marcus. It looks pretty nice. You look like a Marcus.
Well,
It fits you.
I don't know if that's a good thing, but I was just it just hit me that you've had a gamer chair this whole time, and that's the most not boomer thing of you.
Well, actually, I didn't have a chair for a while.
Yeah.
And I got it a couple months ago, and it's great. I would recommend Secret Labs. Very comfortable, actually. I was
Are you
surprised.
giving them a
No.
you giving
No,
a free
I'm just saying it's great.
plug-in? Okay.
No, I'm sure the IKEA chair is also great.
Have you been in
But-
IKEA in Korea yet?
No, I have not.
Do they have Costco's in Korea?
They too have Costco in Korea.
You've been?
Haven't been, but I know that they exist.
I wonder what do you think is the specialty? Like the Costco in Japan, they just had like, what's it called? They had like these big like things of sushi. It was like bulk buying sashimi, like straight up. Never seen anything like it.
I have no idea because I don't go to the sushi or sashimi.
What would be Korea, like kimchi? No.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Well, in this game, we've got an overpool, and we've got a hatchery follow-up. Meanwhile, Bonyth, of course, is sending out that first zealot. Then he turns it back around. Now, in ASL, we saw an interesting style from Mini, where he ended up not scouting for a very, very long time, and it kind of optimized his build quite a bit. This is not the case this time around for Bonyth. You know he's watched those games, of course, but he's decided that it's less risky to actually go for the scout. Now behind this, he put down a Nexus and no Forge, so he's gonna have to micro his heart out with this Zealot. Luckily he has two of them, but he's had to pull a couple of probes to make sure that the Lings do not run by.
Yeah, this is definitely a sketchy situation to be in as Bonyth, but with the third Zealot popping out, he should be alright. Forge should be going down any minute now. I thought for a second Sziky had a hatchery at bottom left, but that was actually his Overlord scouting in, or something else, but looks like Sziky is taking the standard third base on this map. That Forge is a bit out, I'm not gonna lie, but this this SimCity from Bonyth does seem a bit questionable here. Like, if Sziky chooses to go for something like a 973, that's gonna be really hard to defend.
Yeah, as soon as I see this, I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, okay, do I just build 6 Hydras and power behind it and then get a free Forge? Like this,
yeah.
I don't see how +1 can ever complete with that Forge placement. But, you know, this is a ladder map. You know, Bonyth has for sure played at this particular position quite a few games. Now, I wonder if, because this Forge is so far forward, if he will just go for something completely off the wall, like maybe like, say, a Reaver. But yeah, look at the cannon placement. That is a mile away from that Forge.
Yeah, I mean, that's not looking too good here for Bonyth, but we'll see. I mean, the reality is that, you know, Sziky's not too aggressive in general, so we'll have to see if he does actually choose to go for that Hydralisk Den.
Well, not the case. Going to be a lair for him. That means that we're going to have Spire coming in as the follow-up. Meanwhile, back in Bonyth main, Cybernetics should be done now. I did not see a big block go. Okay, now the big block has gone down in his main, so that's definitely going to be the Stargate. Meanwhile, second gas has just now started at around 40 supply for him, so that is pretty late. That means that he's going to have his mineral income rolling. We're probably going to see a couple gateways come down relatively soon. Meanwhile, that Overlord is sitting in front of the base again. And I remember watching a shuttle video and saying if the Overlord is just consistently sitting outside your base, you can be pretty sure that there's a Hydra Den, Hydra follow-up coming. However, the probe was still alive and scouting, and it saw, I think, everything. So he knows that this is Spire, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, this is just a bit weird here from Sziky because he's also getting his Hydra Den while teching into Lair. It's not something you usually see, but then again, this Stargate is so much faster than the Lair. It seems, everything seems a bit off here.
Wait, there's no Spire.
I know
there's just a Hydra Den.
Yeah, I mean,
lurkers?
Could be lurkers, could be Hydralisk upgrades plus Overlord upgrades. I remember, I think now thinking about it, Sziky did have this interesting ZVP builder that's not very standard, where he goes for like a 4-hatch Hydra Den lair type build, and the lair is there just to get Overlord speed. No Spire at all. It's just so weird to see this. Obviously, if you're in Bonyth's shoes, he's going to be happy scouting this because, you know, he's not facing a Hydralisk bust. He's not facing Spire, but look, he's still making Corsairs, and I'm guessing that's +1 air.
Yeah, it should be +1 air. Also, his third gate is pretty darn fast. I saw it start at 6 minutes, and he is going to be ramping up that Zealot production pretty soon. But as you said, no Hydra pressure means +1 weapon most likely is going to complete. Sayers are going to come in and again see that there is no Spire anywhere. Now that is a creep colony, so that's not going to be a Spire there. But Sziky is locked up across his natural and third base. I don't see a Zealot attack really doing much. Templar follow-up, of course, but Bonyth is moving out on the map. This is going to be 9 Zealots. No +1 just yet, though.
And no +1 just yet. No speed just yet. It is probably going to finish. This is a really early timing, actually, for Protoss, and what I do like about how Bonyth has played the early game is, you know, we usually see Protosses be so aggressive with the first Zealots, but Bonyth has just kept all his Zealots back, so he has so many at this timing. No +1 yet. +1 is so important in finding not only Lings, but Hydralisks, but it looks like Bonyth is just gonna move back a bit. These Zealots aren't gonna trade great, but with the high ground, though, they're not gonna die, and actually this is a really good fight with for Bonyth. Without +1, these Zealots aren't that scary, but there's just so many at this early timing that it is pushing Sziky back a bit.
Well, Sziky was supply blocked for upwards of a minute. I guess the Sayers got 2 Overlord kills because he was red initially, then I saw the supply drop even farther. Now finally Sziky becomes unsupply blocked, but it's about 12 Zealots, still no +1. You can see that Bonyth was worried about something. He puts down a couple more extra cannons. Meanwhile, he's going to jump on these Hydras, and okay, the SimCity's a little bit too strong. As you mentioned, the +1 still hasn't kicked in. Meanwhile, I did see first couple Templars are moving out, and no Lurkers just yet. I'm getting a bit worried that once there's maybe one more cycle or so, if he can send Templars across the map, he could push through. Oh, he finds exposed Overlords again, but ends up backing off.
Yeah, I don't know. This is looking kind of dicey for Sziky, but finally he does push out with a lot of Hydralisks. These should be able to fight the Zealots, though that's still a significant amount of Zealots. Back at Sziky's base, or Bonyth's base, he does have +1. He has a couple of Templars coming out. His gateway count has been increasing steadily here, and Bonyth, of course, with his micro. Look at how he picks off Hydralisks, avoiding the big clump of Hydras as well, and retreats finally when he can no longer take the fight to his natural, where he has 4 cannons and a couple of Templars, so definitely a great defensive position. Meanwhile, Sziky has +1, so those Hydralisks are going to hurt. Does make a round of drones, so not going to play too overly aggressive. Man, Dragoons are already popping out for Bonyth.
Yeah, but that +1 weapon for Sziky is basically matching timing. Oh, Lurkers are on the left side. They have not been spotted just yet. Now they have. And now Bonyth might move over there. Oh, they morph in the nick of time. They're not going to get blanketed by storms. Look at this micro from Sziky trying to save a couple of the Hydras. Meanwhile, it is 10 minutes, which means Robo should be done. Observers should not be out, but should be coming pretty soon. But Sziky's going to have a... Observatory is done, so Observer is going to be popping out momentarily. And this Lurker Contain may not work out so well, but that is a lot of Hydras. Look at the supply. Almost 90 to just 110.
Yeah, and it's hard to get a Lurker Contain on this map because there's so many exits for Protoss to use. You know, I do like how Bonyth has adjusted his build. You know, the Observers are out so early. It looks like Bonyth is going to actually try and push out here. The Zealots do get a 6 around on most of the Lurkers, but the Templar took a huge spine and they all died. One storm did go off, but Sziky looks like he's going to get the better end of this trade, and Bonyth is pushed back for now.
Yeah, those Templars got obliterated by those Lurker spines, and the fast +1 for Sziky is really helping him. There's no +1 armor for Bonyth just yet, and it's not going to be done anytime soon. he does need, I think, to get up a second forge and try and go into +2 weapon and +1 armor at the same time, because actually Zerg going to be matching the upgrades for a long time. Actually, +2 weapon might be further along than +1 armor for our Protoss player. This is a lot of gates. I think that is 9 gates for Bonyth, maybe even the 10th one right there.
Yeah, well, Bonyth is definitely struggling.
11 gate.
11 gate. I mean, he has to make something happen. He lost all his units, and he's put absolutely no pressure onto the Zerg this entire game. Sziky is in the driver's seat here. You can see most of Sziky's units are in the middle of the map, moving around, intercepting these zealots as they come up to the high ground. Just really good unit movement from Sziky, and he has so much to work with. I mean, he's getting that 4th base up and running. Has 3 bases fully saturated. That 6 hatch, now 7 hatch going. Well, actually, his 6 hatch is a bit late. So Sziky's production isn't quite where it could be. And he's actually taking the hive 12 minutes in. That's really, really quick. And honestly, that might jeopardize his mid-game army.
Well, it might, but oh, look at that pick-off. He just snipes that goon down. His supply is still relatively high. He has good positioning too. Lurkers more. And I'm getting worried for Bonyth that with all these high grounds, you know, the left side, the middle side, right side, how is he really ever going to attack? Well, that's one way. You blanket all of the hydras and they melt in an instant. Meanwhile, yeah, that's going to be a nexus. I was thinking that actually he didn't have any intentions of attacking right now. You can see +1 armor has kicked in, which means +2 weapon should be kicking in pretty soon too, because I know it was a similar timing for +1. Lurkers take big storm right there. Ends up going another storm being used to take that down. There's +2 weapon. So again, like I said, upgrades very, very similar in the timing.
Yeah, that's pretty good for Zerg, because honestly, Zerg does benefit more from upgrades just from having more units out on the map. But looks like Bonyth is going to have a huge army here with the pincer attack from the Zealots on the side there. You will clean up the last remaining lurkers for Sziky, and all of a sudden, when Zerg loses this forward position on the map, when they no longer have that lurker contained, they feel a bit defenseless at home, and it's not clear where does Sziky set up. I mean, he should be on this high ground here where the hydras are, but he's not. And so Bonyth, if he just parts his army on this high ground, he will be able to basically threaten 2 bases at once.
He doesn't know about Dawid middle, so he is just going to attack the 3rd base. Look at supplies have shot up for Bonyth because he has those 11 gates. It's 150 to just 105, but not that many goons. It's only 6. Also, not that many storm. I think that might be the last remaining storm. That's a lurker at the bottom side and dishing out so much damage to these zealots. You can see that supplies have gone down to 130 for Bonyth now. Still about 100 for Sziky, so he's holding strong. Lings are going to start reinforcing. 2 Overlord, or not Overlord, Observers got taken down. So that means that there's no way to detect these lurkers anymore. We've got Storm coming in through the backside. They need to hit these lurkers. That's the only way that they can damage them.
Storms were on point-ish, but not quite enough to break through here. And Bonyth somehow, despite essentially having 50 supply over Sziky, not quite getting the job done, and Sziky still getting a couple of good trades. These lurkers generating value.
You see +1 armor has kicked in for Sziky. That nullifies the +1 weapon for Protoss, and that means that Bonyth is in big time trouble. Not only is there matching upgrades, they're ahead for the Zerg player, and we know that he has Hive. So the fact that he was not able to get through with a 150 to 100 supply lead at Lair Tech, now it's going to be a real nightmare now that Hive Tech is kicked in. And look at this drone saturation, man. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, he has Hive at such an early time here. Probably has +3 weapons going as well, which is going to be really good for Zerg, obviously. And if the Filers ever come out onto the field and suddenly all those Dragoons are going to be worthless, you can see the probe count for Bonyth. I mean, definitely he has probably transferred a lot of them to the other bases, but it looks pretty healthy, actually. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty good economy for Protoss. We'll have to see what his solution is going to be to this late game Zerg, though. But I do like that Bonyth did double expand here. He's on equal bases with the Zerg, and honestly, you know, we do talk about Bonyth and his early game micro, but in late game PvZ, time and time again, Sure, Bonyth, you know, he's actually admitted to over making gateways because he feels like he misses production cycles, but besides that, like, he actually plays late game PvZ very well. Like, he always expands, he gets a lot of unit movement going around the map. He does transition into shuttle play very well, and you can see he's covering all of his bases with cannons, has a couple of Templar at some. So overall, Bonyth is getting into a nice position to contest Sziky in the late game here.
Yeah, and you can see that 2-1 did kick in for Protoss, so that is going to nullify the +1 armor. However, I saw that the Lings had +1 weapon too, so they're going to be hitting pretty hard, especially with that adrenaline. Storms blanket all of the Lings though, and they are going to fall, but there's more and more coming in for Sziky. There's not that many Archons, but the Storms are fantastic, but supplies basically even. That is not a good sign for Protoss, but what is a good sign is that he does have the 4 bases, as you mentioned, but he's dry in the main, dry in the natural. Meanwhile, Sziky is expanding towards Bonyth at mid-right.
Yeah, that's going to be a really tricky base to take, but it makes sense. I mean, it looks like for Sziky, you know, the information that he has is that Protoss is basically always on this bottom left side of the map, concentrating all his forces. So if he expands away, that's going to take the pressure away from these bottom 2 bases. And you can see, actually, he did take that shuttle down, and Sziky's also expanding again at bottom left. So definitely putting on the pressure here. Bonyth has to kill a couple of these hatcheries, cannot allow them to get up for free. Bonyth gets into position here before the lurkers do burrow. They do burrow. Darkstorm does go down. That's going to change a lot. And look at these upgrades. 2-2 for the lurkers. These zealots are getting absolutely demolished, and Bonyth is pushed back, though. I think he will be able to kill that hatchery because he very smartly spread a couple of zealots here to take care of it.
Yeah, nice move there to make sure that the hatchery dies, but meanwhile these Lings from the back, okay, they're going to die, and Lings are going to confirm that top middle has been taken, almost takes out that Templar. Supplies are still in favor of Bonyth, but 170 versus 140, that's not an overwhelming lead for Bonyth. He does need to start taking a 5th base. Luckily, he's expanding away from the Zerg, like he's going to the top left direction, so I think he'll be able to get that 5th base up pretty easily. And Double Forge upgrade is going to be kicking in momentarily, so he's about to have 3-2. Meanwhile, there's the catch-up. I was waiting for it. Hits a few of the units.
Yeah, Plague is out. This composition still not... I mean, Bonyth actually has a lot of zealots here. They're going to have a hard time against the lurkers, but without support, they maybe can... No, they do not get on top of it. Bonyth doesn't seem to have enough Templars just yet. I mean, that is 5 Templars. If he can use the Storm, 1 Storm goes down, but he does get pushed back, and late game PvZ can be so difficult to control here. These zealots, of course, I mean, most of the Protoss units are in the red. Another nice Storm on 1. Okay, that second Storm is even better on the 2 lurkers. He does clean up a couple of these lurkers, only 3 left over. But the Lings do intercept some reinforcing Templar and Archon.
He ends up taking out the Archon, doesn't get any of the Templar, at least just yet. What is scary for Bonyth is his supply is 150. That means he can build about 20 more units. But even with 20, okay, there we go. I was wondering, I'm like, man, that army looks extremely tiny for the supply being that high. Now we do see that he has a ton of zealots and Archons reinforcing. So his comp now is starting to look much better. +3 weapon is kicked in. That's a game changer for Protoss. Now he can one-shot the Lings easily. And we see triple robotics coming in for Bonyth. So Reaver is on the menu.
Yeah, triple robotics is a nice transition here in the late game. Allows you to get out so many shuttles and Reavers. Not just to harass, but also to supplement your main army. It looks like Bonyth is going to try and move in here on this 6 o'clock base. And Sziky's not quite in a position. He does have a couple of lurkers, but no defilers anywhere near. No Nidus as well. And looking at the supply, I mean, Sziky's going to abandon this base, pulls all the drones away, and there are just no Zerg units out on the field to defend this.
Yeah, I don't know what happened here. Maybe the supply was just a little bit too small for Sziky. Maybe too many drones and too many lurkers split up everywhere. But 4th got busted, but he backs off. Is something happening on the map to draw him back? I don't see it. Oh, we got a Reaver and Storm drop to bottom left, wipes out all the drones. Now he's going to continue the pressure on this 4th base. Meanwhile, Zealots are moving across the map. It looks like they got their eyes set on that mid-right base. and he's going to take out bottom middle for sure. And all of a sudden, this game has gotten flipped on its head.
Yeah, I mean, this game's done so. Bonyth found a kill move just out of nowhere, kills that base. Well, I mean, I will say this, Bonyth, of course, he's only on 2 bases. If Protoss was on 3 bases, this game was for sure done. But those 2 bases aren't necessarily going to last a whole lot longer. It's going to be a bit hard for Protoss to take a 3rd base, and you know, Sziky still has a couple of bases to work with, but the fact that he lost this 6 o'clock base, which had a lot of drones there, not just that, but he lost the bottom left mining, he will clean this up. I don't know, man.
Yeah, the game's getting wild, and mid-right base did not die. That hatchery is still alive. Oh, no, it did die. I thought that the Lings and Lurkers cleaned it up, but supplies have plummeted for both players, now down to 130 for Bonyth, but sub 100 supply for Sziky, and what really hurts is all of his bases are mined out because he had that great saturation. So now really he's on like 1 base mining. I see that there are some patches at the main and natural, but it's super low. Meanwhile, Bonyth is taking his 5th base at top left, and nothing has denied it.
Yeah, I mean, if Bonyth does take this 3rd base, he will be in just such a tremendous lead, but you know, there's still time for Sziky to maybe get a Ling Defiler counterattack there. It looks like this mid-right base, though, is going to... I mean, it's barely holding for now, but that one Reaver getting microed very heavily. And it looks like Bonyth with the reinforcements is going to be able to kill this hatchery, or at least cancel it. It does go down, doesn't even get the cancel. And Sziky's definitely hurting for resources at this point, so that's not going to be good. Grind Boss coming in hot. Storms do go down. The Reaver dies. The shuttle dies as well, but a couple of Zealots left over. I mean, the problem here for Sziky is obviously that he just seems to be struggling economically. I think his main base is mined out. His natural is close to being mined out, and his 3rd is probably also close to being mined out. And he only really has 1 very healthy base, whereas Bonyth still has 2 healthy bases.
Yeah, if he had somehow kept bottom middle with those drones, and even if he had lost all the drones at bottom left, I think he would still be in a fantastic position. But the fact that he lost that base and lost the drones and got storm dropped, that's a bit much to take. Lurker on the high ground is in position, and we'll see if Bonyth stacks up all those probes at the top patch. If he does, that means those probes are going to go poof pretty quickly. Meanwhile, another attack coming across. It's not a lot of Lings, just a single Defiler. And Shuttle is going to go into that main and look to shut down this hatchery. Oh, that's going to be Zealots, and that's probably going to be a storm drop on the side.
Ooh, the Scourge do connect with the show. Okay, you don't see that every day. Looks like Sziky did dodge most of the storm, though, with the drones, and more Scourge popping out of nowhere. They will kill the shuttle before more storm does go down. This one Lurker is going to be so annoying. Oh my god, 3 kills already, but the DT with an odds should be enough to clean it up. So somehow clutch from Bonyth to have that there. Cleans up the Lurker, which really was doing tremendous damage. But now, looking at the state of the game, I mean, it looks pretty similar to several minutes ago, to be quite honest with you. Bonyth does have that 50 supply lead, but is having a hard time just pressing the advantage here and really having a decisive attack. I mean, he did kill that base, but we'll see. If this is a good attack, though, 1 shuttle with double Reaver, but so many Lings with the Defiler coming in to flank. Is that going to be enough, though? These Reavers are obviously so strong against Lings, and though we can't really see what's going on, it looks like the Protoss army is just bulldozing these Zerg units.
He's trying to push through here, but Zerg's doing a good job to clean up, you know, what the small army from Protoss. Protoss is still down to 130 supply. Shuttle got taken out. That means that these Reavers are exposed. That's going to be the first one going down, but that storm was great, eliminated a lot of the Lings, but still there's a couple of Archons left over, and we know that they one-shot these Lings, but with the Dark Swarm support, that is going to make those Lings much stronger. They end up saving the base, and somehow Sziky has held. And if you look at Bonyth's bank, it's not that high, and top middle, all of it was double expanded. Remember that. So these bases at top middle should be mining out pretty soon.
Yeah, that's totally right. And honestly, Bonyth kind of chilling at the supply that's just not very healthy for Protoss.
Oh,
Does get a couple of drones, but I mean, at this stage of the game, well, so many more drones actually hatch. Sziky is struggling too, you know, he's under 100 supply. He's trying to get this extra base saturated here. Late game Zerg is just so strong though with Lings and upgrades and Crack, with the Crack upgrade as well and Defilers that, you know, if you really do get into this like late game attrition battle, it's just so much easier to pilot as Zerg. But still though, Bonyth, I feel like he has a pretty decent advantage. He does have top left coming in. But he needs to find just better engagements. And it always seems like his army isn't quite that big.
Yeah, well, he needs to keep attacking because bottom middle got retaken from Sziky, and he has bottom left. He just took that too, so that's going to be 2 fresh bases for him. And he has so many hatches that you know that he can make that drone count. Like, look at that. Those bases are already completely saturated. And that means that if this game stabilizes, Sziky is still in it. The upgrades for Protoss are on point. They're 3-2-3. Meanwhile, Zerg is, I think, also 3-2. So both players, super strong army once they can get up a, up a real army. And now it may just be too much. It's 190 supply for Bonyth. He's found the 4th base again. Dark Swarm and Plague are going to be coming in. Hits the Reavers, but so many Lings in the back.
Yeah, it's 190 supply for Bonyth, but it's definitely not here. I mean, this army still looks tiny, but it doesn't seem like Sziky has enough units to hold on to just this attack here. This is a nice composition, though. I mean, double Reaver, double Archon, bunch of Zealots are going to have a field day with just Ling Darkswarm. It looks like Sziky himself is having a hard time massing units, or at least a much stronger composition. There's no lurkers to defend this base. It does go down, so definitely a huge victory here for Bonyth. Bonyth, though, he's going to lose these units. He has a bunch more units at his natural ready to rock and roll, and it looks like Bonyth did establish top left, so another base is going to be mining for a long time now. I mean, again, Protoss is definitely in the driver's seat. You can see the blue moving out into the middle of the map.
Yeah, but Lings do clean up all of those expensive units. The Reavers, the Templars, the Goons, they all get cleaned up. Meanwhile, that's a lot of idle probes that are not mining. He needs to actually take another base, get his, what is that, 7th base up and running, because that's not that many probes mining at top left, really. Here comes another attack. Great Plague again. Another good Plague hits the Reavers this time. Okay, there is detection, I see it. But if that Observer gets taken out, Sziky will be able to hold this, I think.
Well, I mean, Bonyth is doing a good job microing these 2 Reavers. Just kidding, one goes down. Actually, they're in the red, so they're very susceptible to getting sniped. Obviously, shields do take maximum damage from all sources, so the shield portion of a Protoss health pool isn't that sturdy. Looks like Bonyth instead gonna run into this base, trying to kill a couple of drones. That Reaver instantly goes down. Only 2 drones as a trade for that Reaver, not the best here. And now with Sziky taking mid-right, well, if Sziky had 6 o'clock, this might actually start seeming like a Zerg-favored situation, but not quite just yet. This mid-right, though, is getting there.
Well, Protoss not being able to close it out with almost a double supply league is making me nervous at this point. And again, these are all expensive units, all of them. 4 Archons, 3 Templar, a Reaver, and a Shuttle. Like, it doesn't get much more expensive except for Arbor and Carrier. Like, these are ridiculously expensive units for Protoss to be losing. There goes one of the Archons, and mid-right is going to be shut down by these Lings. And Sziky, he's, like we've said, he's got good drone count at bottom left. If he can get that bottom middle base going, he would be back on 4 base. And we know that Bonyth right now is only mining on 2, and mid-right has somehow gotten up.
Yeah, but it's not mining just yet, so Bonyth still has a bit of time to react to that base. You know, the thing is, Protoss just never really has gotten a huge army going. I mean, he has such a killer composition, but it's never like supply-wise just menacing. And he is getting these nice trades in the middle of the map, which makes you think, okay, well, Protoss is doing quite well. But look at this Protoss army. It's tiny. It's tiny for Protoss being on 3 base. And you just wonder, like, what is happening? How come? Where is the supply? I mean, there's a lot of probes, yeah, this game, but
I actually think Sziky's done it, because if you noticed in that last attack, he had Hydras, and you don't build Hydras when it gets into this scrappy situation unless you have the econ for it. Oh my god, he loses the shuttle, and again, this 4th base at bottom left is not going to get busted because the army is just non-existent. It's 3 Archons, 3 Templars, 2 Reavers. Sure, that's a powerful army for such units. That's Great Storm. But Sziky, I think, with another round of units, should be able to clean this up.
Yeah, I feel like Bonyth is overemphasizing harassment. I mean, yes, it's obviously important for Protoss to harass, especially in the late game situation. Shuttles are just such a good tool, especially once they have speed, and especially once you have the economy to afford shuttles and Templars nonstop. I mean, you can outrun Scourge, you can for sure get in there and kill the drones, but I mean, Bonyth could easily have used a lot of those shuttles and a lot of those Reavers and Templars to just create a death ball. You only see him attack with 1 shuttle at a time. It's never 2 or 3. It's never 4 or 6 Reavers unloading with the big Protoss ball. And it looks like, you know, it seems like that's why Bonyth has not been able to put a really strong offensive here. This is going to be a nice attack from Bonyth. There you can see finally the Protoss supply does look like it's congregating somewhere, but just not quite efficient enough. Those trades were really good for Zerg. It was mostly just Zerglings there, and a couple of Hydralisks killed a lot of Protoss units, but I mean, if this base goes down, it's going to be pretty bad for Sziky.
Yeah, Lings and Lurkers are moving into position. As you stated, Bonyth really needed to get up a sizable army. He attacked with about 180 supply. Now it's 160 to just 75, and finally Bonyth may have found the killing blow. He's got so many Zealots, so many so many Archons. There's a couple Archons being morphed, but no Observer for now is going to push this army back, but the hatchery is so close to falling.
Well, it doesn't quite go down yet, but it definitely will. Those Lurkers as well do die. And with that hatchery falling, I think there goes really Sziky's chances of winning this game. Bonyth is getting, you know, he has a bank. He just spent it, now doubling the supply. I mean, if you're doubling Zerg and supply, you should be able to close it out any minute. Of course, Bonyth needs to just kind of mass up. Just bring all your units together. Look around all the map where there might be units just kind of chilling. Bring them all together and just do one big push. I mean, it is hard against Zerg, you know, don't get me wrong. Lurkers and Darkstorm and Sunks, sometimes it doesn't matter if you have 20 or 30 more supply. They just all kind of clump up and get absolutely destroyed. Bonyth is coming in here with the shuttle. DT Reaver drop. That Scarab just goes nowhere. Ooh, and a Storm also on the natural expansion here.
Yeah, now Bonyth is doing what Bonyth does best, is he's harassing all over the place. He showed 1 Storm, ends up dropping off that Templar again for a secondary Storm later on. DT has gotten a lot of kills and now found exposed Lings on the left side. The Dark Storm does come in, but the Storm is fantastic, eliminates pretty much all the Lings in an instant. Reaver was saved. It's going to meet up with the rest of that army, and now it's more than doubling the supply, and his 4th base is on the brink of getting busted, but more Lings coming through the back. There's no Zealot support, and again, a lot of expensive units are going to fall here simply to just Lings. Oh, never mind, the Storm is fantastic.
That was the 6th Storm. It looks like that Storm, well, I think Sziky's going to have a couple of reinforcements to defend this base. I'm not quite sure if that hatchery is going to go down, but all of his drones are dead anyway, and Sziky does tap out. GG, Bonyth takes game 1.
Yeah, that was a game, though. That was really back and forth. It looked
that
like
was StarCraft.
Yeah, it looked like Bonyth was going to easily win. But then all the econ kicks in, and Sziky has these fabulous upgrades, and near the end when I saw Hydra starting to be made, I was like, really, man? Did Sziky really stabilize this game? And I was getting very worried because even though Protoss had 6 base, you saw half of his pros weren't mining, and he didn't have a 7th base coming anywhere. He easily could have mined out if the game had gone on, 5 minutes longer. I know that's a long time,
yeah,
but he could have run out of money for sure.
Well, it did come down to the wire. a bit, you know, if I'm Bonyth, I am feeling well, I mean, at the end of the day, it was Shakuras, and that Shakuras map is, again, so hard for Protoss, and Bonyth just pulled it out. I feel like if there's a game that Sziky should win, it's definitely that game, because we saw it from his build order, not quite coherent. I don't think Sziky's going to have an advantage in the build order department. I don't think he's going to have an advantage in the early game department. I don't think he's going to have an advantage in the mid-game department. I think it's in the late game, and I think it's on a map like Shakuras. And all these things kind of came together for Sziky, and he wasn't quite able to win. So, I don't know. Because we saw this game, man. The Forge was out in front. I mean, that's begging to get high draw in, or that's begging to get pressured. And even then, okay, sure, you're not pressuring that, but instead, Sziky went for this, like, fast lair to not build a spire. Like, what's the point? So, if I'm a betting dude, if I'm in the chat, man, I'm betting, like, if I'm a betting man at this point, like, I would bet like my peanuts that Bonyth is gonna take this series. 3-0, 3-1. There's just no way in my mind. I feel like that was just. That's the kind of game that Sziky needs to win.
Well, it looked like he was going to. I thought the mid game went great for him, and then, as we stated, he got 4 bases with amazing saturation. I thought for sure that was going to be the game. Especially, remember, he had, what, 12-minute hive? Like, he had everything. He literally had everything. He was ahead in upgrades, which is already bananas. And then he already had the great econ, great, you know, he had like 8 hatch or something. Everything was fantastic, yet still ends up not taking the game. And as you stated, I kind of agree. I think late game is where you're going to beat Bonyth, because Protoss, my opinion, is it gets really hard when they get that maxed out army, but then they can't attack anywhere. Yeah. And they're stuck, and they kind of just back and forth. But Ling, Plague, Darkswarm trade so effectively that eventually you get overrun. So I am a little bit sad that Sziky was not able to take that game, but we're going to be going into game 2 in just a second, and this time it's going to be Tau Cross as our second map.
Yeah, Tau Cross, another good Zerg map though, to be fair. Well, what was the consensus about this is that, actually it's a pretty decent Protoss map as well.
In the olden days, I'm pretty sure Tau Cross was very good for Zerg.
Tau Cross is like good for Protoss in the early game because you got solid walls, and then if you're doing like a 2-base type push, like it can be extremely strong. But as the game draws out, I feel like it becomes a bit more Zerg favored, I think, is what the consensus is on this map.
Well, yeah, and also you have to remember that this is a 3-player map, so if Sziky was to play something like Larva plays, which is, oh, I'm going to take another Nat and then try and split the map, well, you're already doing that from the get-go on a 3-player map. Protoss, how do they split this map? Well, the answer is they don't. They're just always going to be behind in bases. So that could be an option for Sziky here. I think that the macro from Zerg with the 6-patch or the 5-patch 973 would be devastating. Just literally just sit outside of this Protoss' base and never ever let them get out. But as we know, Protoss has gotten very, very good at macroing in the mid game. So I don't know if that's a real option. But if you look at it from just observer point of view here, 3rd base, this is almost as exposed as Power Bomb.
Yeah.
Like, Zerg can hit you from all angles.
I mean, if you look at the statistics, these are pretty solid stats for Zerg, but of course, these might be very old games as well, and you know, generally ZVP is Zerg favored in terms of the stats, but Tau Cross, you know, this was Bonyth's pick, so there's that we have to keep in mind. He feels comfortable on this map enough that he picked it as his first map, mind you. So we are still waiting for the players to get back here and
let me
ready.
Look at Discord. Bonyth picked Tau Cross, the next map's gonna be Eclipse, then Polypore. Bonyth picked. So yeah, Bonyth, I think this is is a good pick because he probably practiced this map quite a bit, and since it's not a ladder map, that means Ziki, probably practiced it some. But what I like about this is if you think you have more practice and you can win on it, if you win game 1, and then it's your map pick here, and you win game 2, now all of a sudden it's 2-0 in a best of 5. Zerg has to reverse sweep here, which is so hard, and also it affects the other player's mental state, right? Like you're down 2-0, you're like, oh god, am I just gonna lose 3-0? So I think this is a great pick from Bonyth here, and apparently players are ready now. So let's get into game 2 of this best of 5. It's gonna be on Talcross between Bonyth and Ziki. Good FP2, man. Oh, we're dropping out. It needs to say ready to rumble, man, and you gotta announce it as soon as it loads up.
All right, okay, I can, dude. I can't. I don't have the confidence yet to ruin the cast with my terrible voice. So, in the mid left here, it is Bonyth in the blue Protoss.
Yeah, and in the top right, had a really sick game, yet still ended up falling. It is Ziki. So, Talcross.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you've played this map, right? You're boomer enough to have played this map.
Oh yeah, I've played this map.
All right. Well,
it was also in the remastered ladder a couple. Oh,
that's right.
Ago. I mean, this was 2 years ago, probably. Man, I'm worried, dude. I feel like we're never. This is the last season we'll ever have. Oh, that was scary. I thought Zero was gonna leave the game for a second. Zero's done with this game. You think this is gonna be the last season ever? I reckon we're just trapped in this season. Yeah, we're never gonna get a new season.
No, that's not gonna happen. It's as a programmer, I know it's too easy to just change maps. You literally probably have a button that says reset ladder, and then you just change the map. I mean, it's literally like a 5-minute change. People
I don't know, man.
Unless they start doing the portraits, unless they're doing portraits, then of course portraits might take a little longer, but
they're not, dude. People don't even have the portraits from this season. It's all bugged.
I know. I know it's bugged because I saw fatter. I mean,
yeah, that's right.
Get that that's right portrait.
Good thing he's not in the chat.
Oh, he's there. He's sitting there and waiting.
I don't know. He was streaming earlier.
Was he?
I think he's streaming right now. Not anymore.
He wouldn't dare do that. Not during BSL.
Yeah.
Well, we've got, of course, the forward gate from Bonyth. Meanwhile, this is, I think it was an overpool from Ziki. And that's going to be, of course, the hatchery follow-up. Now, what I wanted to ask was, in the old days, you played Zerg. And I know you've probably played Zerg on Talcross. What was your go-to on here? We've only seen it once, which was October Zerg versus Bonyth, right? And, well, that was not a typical ZVP game.
Well, first things first, you gotta get that pool first going because you can get walled in by a pylon. So Ziki, of course, opening over pool here is pretty expected. But then if you just do a 5-hatch build, it's so strong. Hydras are so strong on this map. It's so open that you can get some really good flanks, good arcs with Hydralisks. Of course, that openness also helps Protoss with their kind of mid-game Dragoon pushes if they really invest into that 2-base style. So it can work both ways, but I think if you're a Zerg player, yeah, this is the first scout still for Bonyth here, but I feel like if you're a Zerg player, you're playing this map, you're just going to play standard, you're going to feel pretty good on it, there's no reason not to. And Bonyth still doesn't really quite know what Ziki's up to. He did spot those lings at a specific timing, so probably is putting him on overpool. Now for sure, spotting that hatchery done, knows kind of what's up here, and he's going to be able to see that the gas is a bit late, so there should be a third out on the map. Nothing scary here for the Protoss player.
Yeah, and this late scout is, oh, that's what I was waiting to see. Will anybody skip the forge and go straight into cybernetics? That is a cybernetics wall. And in ASL, we saw Mini go for this no scout style. And even players like Bisu were saying that this is a revolutionary move, the no scout. Of course, you can't do it every game because, as Scan pointed out, one of the weaknesses here is if you open straight 9-pool speed, get not scouted, and then don't have a forge, all of a sudden you just get instantly killed. And of course, 12 hatch blind and not having to build lings or not having to worry about being scouted is a great opener too. We do see that the lair is coming in for Sziky, so Spire is going to be coming in pretty soon. But this cybernetics is already done.
I guess this is no, he didn't do it last game. I'm still trying to like I'm still confused last game because we saw the lair finish, and then the Stargate was already done. Like I'm just like what is that? But we're gonna have the same type of tempo here from Bonyth because he did go for that core first. Of course, like as you said, a new tech in this matchup, a new tool Protoss has to use to kind of even the scales here. Of course, historically Protoss has always been kind of on the back foot in this matchup, and it's up to Protoss players to really innovate to try and get ahead of the Zerg. And this time around, it looks like Bonyth is going to be in a really good spot. You can see the Corsair is on the way, 5 minutes in. +1 is started as well, and that Forge isn't really threatened. And when you have the core actually walling in like this, it's pretty nice because that Forge upgrade can't get canceled.
Yeah, and Tangard with the clutch, $200 tip. Thank you so much, man. I'm not sure what that puts us. Does that put us at like about 4,000? I think around there.
3,800, I think.
So we're basically 75 to 80% of the way to BSL 13. Thank you so much, man. And as you mentioned, that Forge not exposed at all, so it's not going to get busted. And even though I'm not a Zerg player, I do remember that Hydras were very, very scary on this particular map. So I think it's okay to sack your cybernetics and put that Forge behind it and make sure that +1 never, ever gets denied. Meanwhile, we do see Sziky has gone for, pretty sure it is 5 hatch. I don't think he can afford 6 hatch at this point.
I mean, that core is not too important, right? Because if you think about it, what's going to get... The only thing that could get canceled at this stage in the game about the core, this is a bit of theory crafting, I guess, is the +1 air. But the only way it gets canceled is if Zerg commits to a playstyle that Protoss does not want +1 air against, right? Which is something like a 973. Like, you don't want to get into Corsairs with +1 air. You want to get Corsairs into +1 air versus Mutalisks. And if they go into that Spire play, they're not going to bust your front. So it's just overall really smart, actually. Just having that core as the wall. I'm sure we'll start to see it more often. That one Corsair does go down, which is pretty bad, obviously, for Protoss. But not the end of the world. If he does lose the second Corsair, though, he will be in a lot of trouble. That does open Zerg up for a possible Muta transition. Trying to juke the Scourge. He does get it done, but there's still another opportunity here for the Scourge to gain on the Corsair. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. It's so important for Protoss to keep it alive.
He lost them. He lost the Sair, and that means that it is going to get away. Now, I got to point this out because you don't see this often. The power of this no scout build. He had 3 Sairs across the map when the first Scourge pointed out. So you Protoss players out there, you can see how surprisingly strong this opener is. I've never seen 3 Sairs get across the map safely before Scourge get out. Now, 8 Zealots are also moving out. You know, Mini moved out much faster than this. So a bit of a mix-up here. 8-minute attack. I don't expect this to do any damage. Actually, I'm a bit worried because 6 hatch is coming up for Sziky, and we know he loves to build those drones up. Meanwhile, Zamu with the big tip, $25. Thank you so much. Getting closer and closer to fulfilling that BSL goal. And this attack is going to be denied. Oh, is he just going to focus down the evolution chamber? That's a smart move, but he would lose his entire Zealot army. So instead, he is going to back off, but he still loses 4 out of the 8 Zealots.
Yeah, this isn't looking good for Protoss. I mean, we did get this Kusage build going, but so what? I mean, we lost all our Zealots. These Corsairs aren't really defending against anything. They need to be out on the map killing Overlords, but without the Zealots to kind of supplement the Corsairs and fight in tandem with them, it's going to be much harder for Bonyth to get any Overlord kills. And if he doesn't slow down the Zerg, he's going to run over. I mean, think about it, 6 Corsairs plus 1 Air. That means you don't have Storm as fast, you don't have as many Templar. Finally, Bonyth getting inside of the base. You know, Protoss crucially relies on getting Zerg supply stuck at this stage of the game to really get to even out the value that they invested into these Corsairs. But I'm wondering what's happening at the front. I mean, Bonyth does have 6 cannons. Not quite sure if Sziky will be able to bust through just yet.
Well, this is one of the ways that the Cybernetics could backfire, because now the Cybernetics has been eliminated, and for sure that had to be for range. If it was for +1 weapon, I would be mega shocked. His range would be so late. And now with the range being denied, that means he's got to rebuild it. That means that goons are so garbage now once they come out.
Yeah.
He's got like, range is a long upgrade too. I think it's 100 seconds. So we're looking at Bonyth having no real way to move out until the 12-minute mark. If he runs out, of course, I mean, Zerg has to have units here. So for now, I guess Zealots are going to know they're going to be stuffed by these Lings and Hydras.
I don't know, man. This is looking real bad for Protoss. Like, Bonyth just didn't see. He did push out there. You were mentioning, Nyokin, that it was maybe a bit too late, that Zealot push out, but I think not just that, but the Corsairs were kind of just AFK too, with that whole pressure. You know, we saw kind of the Zealots fighting Lings and Hydralisks kind of dying, and then we pan into Bonyth's base, and he has all these Corsairs just kind of chilling there. So definitely a missed opportunity for Protoss to even the scales. And now it looks like Sziky just doesn't care. He's going to morph these lurkers in front of Bonyth. Probably no observer out just yet. It is 10 minutes. You would expect it. Oh, not even done with the robotics.
Yeah, I was going to point that. Remember last game, we looked at the main and observer was out at like 10:30. Robo's not even done. And we're already past the 11-minute mark. And behind this, Ziggy's doing what you should be doing. He is getting more ahead. He's taking the 4th base. Overlord gets taken down. That's going to supply block him for now. But the Sayers are not doing the damage that is needed to keep the Zerg back. The contain has been set up. Now it might be, because Sayers have gotten 5 kills. Oh no, he's going to lose 2 of the Sayers. But that was nice. Bonyth needed that, because at least for now, the contain is not that strong. So if he can get the observer out quickly and move out, there's nothing to buffer the lurkers from being eliminated. Now that is a ton of goons and a ton of gates, and range should be kicking in I think 30 seconds or so.
Again, Bonyth up to that 10 gateway count, but still floating a lot of resources. You're finally spending it. It looks like he will be able to put, he's getting ready to push out, clearing a couple of cannons, but Sziky does have a contain going. Bonyth had a nice opportunity there, though I don't think he was quite ready. Oh, okay, Sziky actually abandons the contain. He doesn't feel confident enough to be able to have enough units there to really keep the Protoss back. So he will let Bonyth kind of sally out of his natural and just kind of defend on his side of the map. He does have a 4th base going. Bonyth does not have a 3rd base.
How many goons that is. And that was a good move from Sziky to back off at around the 12-minute mark. As I mentioned, range would be kicking in around there, and Sziky knew that, especially since he killed the Cybernetics. He knows, like, okay, well, if you instantly build it now, then it takes 100 seconds, it's going to come out around this time. So nice move there, backs off. But he's got his 4th base up, and it is completely saturated. We saw a ton of drones being pumped out. Meanwhile, Bonyth just now going to start building his 3rd base, and unlike Shakuris, where do you take your 4th base? You're going to take it bottom left? Well, first off, that's a mineral only. You have to travel a mile. If you take it top right, well, all of a sudden that's right next to Zerg's base, but it doesn't look like we are double expanding. Lurker setting up to deny the 3rd base, but we have a massive attack at the natural, and that is a ton of goons.
Yeah, this is do or die for Bonyth. He has to do so much damage here.
Great storm.
Game up. Storms are on point. Still so many goons left over, but at the same time, look at Zerg Supply has so many units to work with. Lurkers just get up in front of the goons burrowed there, but they do get stormed down. The Dragoons just so strong at this stage of the game. we'll have to see if Bonyth can rally in enough units to supplement these goons. You can see he doesn't have that many Zealots anymore, doesn't have that many Templar, so these goons are going to be susceptible to the rallied Zerglings, but still so much value being generated by the Protoss units. Sziky not quite fighting with his Lings just yet, his supply is plummeting, and Bonyth, though, you can see the mini-map, there is no blue on the way. Where are his units?
Yeah, he's got a macro slip. At a clutch moment, he's floating 1,000 minerals. We also don't see any reinforcing units coming across the map, as you mentioned. That means that Sziky is going to hold this attack. It was dangerously close to being busted. Maybe like one round of Zealots. Well, I actually don't think it would have ended the game, but it would have potentially busted maybe the third base or taken down the evolution chamber or something critical, or potentially busted the fourth base. Now at the bottom side, is that a DT? Remember, the chaos has drawn all the overlords to the third base. A DT at the fourth base would eliminate a lot of the drones, but it's just a zealot.
Yeah, that's just a zealot, dude. Not quite promoted to, well, honestly, the DT cast is like the rejects, right? Like they're you know, zealots would get promoted to like being high Templar unless they like cut off their little braids there and sever their connection to the Kala or something like that. That's, you like how I'm dropping down the lore?
Yeah, you've played the campaign. I have no idea what you're talking about. I never played the campaign. As I've stated,
Shame on you, dude.
When I got into Brood War, I went to a friend's house, saw it, bought the game 2 hours later, and then instantly went into multiplayer. I have never played campaign at all.
Maybe that's why you lack imagination, Iokin, but it looks like Bonyth is going to try and get that fourth base there. And again, exactly what you mentioned earlier, it's so hard for Protoss to get a fourth base on this map, and the one fourth base that they can get doesn't have a gas, which isn't that valuable. But, you know, as long as Bonyth has 3 gas going, I mean, 3 gas Protoss is so strong. The thing is, Bonyth has mined out his main by now, but he will have a 3 base economy for a while, and Sziky doesn't quite, you know, on the flip side of it, Sziky is going to have a hard time taking a 5th base himself. He hasn't committed to kind of the main just yet, and he wouldn't have lurkers in time there. It looks like Bonyth has priority on the map, so he will be able to kind of intercept any lurkers coming in. These zealots, though, fighting Hydra Lurk, not what you want to see. Templars finally coming in, storming all the Hydras down. The lurkers don't really have any more units to buffer for them, but it's mostly zealots here for Bonyth, and they were softened up early on.
Get him that DT. He's branched off. What did he do? Ripped off the braids, and now he's in the drone line. And he's getting a ton of drone kills. I think he got 7 there. Meanwhile, Mineral Only is going up, but a Ling counterattack instantly finds it, and that might be a dead Nexus. This is a critical kill for Sziky, especially since you mentioned it's going to be hard for him to get a 5th base, but he snuck a drone to the other main, and he's starting to take that other main. I actually would have liked to see him take the natural, but this is fine too. And Bonyth, well, now he's going to be stuck on 1 base mining in just a few seconds because we're approaching the 17-minute mark, which is when players tend to mine out their main and natural.
Yeah, Bonyth needs to make this attack work because that 5th base is going to be up along with Nidus, and you know the main base is a bit more defensible though, like in terms of using that choke.
They don't have storm.
Oh, no storm for the Templars, but I mean, that's only 5 Dragoons, man. You can't really move forward with them. Bonyth just doesn't seem to have enough steam in his attacks here, enough punch to bust through. That's so many lurkers, and oh my god, Sziky just morphing all those Hydralisks. Now, if somehow Bonyth sniffs out this 5th base and cancels it, he still has a fighting chance in this game, but looks like he's trying to take a base of his own, ninja base, but Sziky correctly scouts it. And I don't know, dude, this is looking really good for Sziky.
Yeah, this is an amazing position for Sziky. There's no fourth base econ for Bonyth. Luckily, his 3rd base has some 3rd gas, so that's great for him. You can see he's floating. Well, now he's not floating gas anymore. But as he mentioned, that comp from him, almost pure zealot, not ideal. And he might get these 2. Okay, luckily those Templar end up morphing into an Archon. I thought they were going to get picked off. But this base has been denied, and Bonyth, he's in trouble. He's scrambling to get a 4th base up. If he doesn't get a 4th base up, eventually Zerg will just run him over. Lings are actually moving across the map. Are they setting up for a 3rd base counterattack? No, he's trying to just intercept the probe is what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter, right? These Lings are just so cheap anyway. He's just running them around, seeing what he can find, making sure, probably also intercepting possible Zealot groups that might go to 6 o'clock. But really, it looks like Bonyth, I mean, again, Bonyth has this problem where he has like 160 supply, but I'm looking at the screen and it's not what I'm seeing. I don't know if it's his units are missing or his composition is quite weak. I mean, that's only Zealots. Look, he has he has 2 control groups out in the middle of nowhere doing nothing, so he needs to really get his units together. The problem is that for some reason, Bonyth has committed to just making Zealots non-stop instead of just the Dragoon, which is much stronger at this stage of the game. And well, now, I mean, Defilers are going to be out, but these Zealots are not going to be effective against just the mass lurker of Sziky.
Yeah, Bonyth needs to start doing what Bonyth does best, which is go for harassment, try and make the game chaotic, because as it stands, his army flat out will not beat Zerg's army. It's just not going to happen. Now, if these Reavers get haymakers off into that big clump, that could change the tide of the game, but he cannot lose that shuttle, and there it goes. Now, the Defiler has not casted Darkstorm or Plague just yet, so he may not have Consume. From downtown, the Steph Curry shot knocked down that Defiler, and that is a lot of bunched up lurkers that the Reaver and Storm could easily kill.
Yeah, this one Reaver is just kind of chilling there, trying to siege down this lurker position, but one Reaver is not really going to output enough DPS to kind of get through this effectively. And it looks like Sziky's going to pounce on it with a couple of things from the south side pinchering. Those, you know, importantly, the Reaver is going to go down here, so no more siege possible for Bonyth, and Bonyth just struggling in this game. He has no 4th base. Looks like he's trying to take top right again, but a couple more Lings are going to go there. They're going to scout it. This time around, Bonyth does have 3 Zealots, but 3 Zealots are not going to be enough to defend against the swarm coming in here. Looks like Sziky is ready to push out. He unburrowed all his lurkers. He's pushing so many units out onto the map, and this is so many Lings attacking 12 o'clock.
Well, it kind of looks like that this is a bait. Force units to top right while he takes bottom left and also attacks bottom middle. Yeah. As you mentioned, there's a Nidus there, and lurkers have already moved through. And again, the comp is almost pure lurker at this point. And now, lurkers are going to intercept these Templars in the center of the map. He doesn't realize that's going to be 4 Templars going down for free, not a single storm going off. Meanwhile, Observer's going to die to that Spore Colony, I think. And that means that the 4th base is going to be saved.
Yeah, I mean, the Protoss Eco just isn't where it should be, and it looks like Sziky is going to close this one out. 150 supply to 120. This Protoss army is going to go down. There's just so many lurkers all over the map. Bottom left is not long for this world either once Sziky scouts it, and Bonyth is going to tap out soon here. Sziky bringing it back, man, making it 1-1.
Yeah, 150 supply to 91. If this was Bonyth with the 150 supply, you know, obviously he's in the driver's seat. But still, Sziky would have a chance. But for Zerg to be in this situation, up 60 supply, there is no hope. Unless bottom left somehow doesn't get scouted for like the next 5 minutes. And he gets Templars over there to defend it.
It would be incredible. I think I would just leave the cast in the middle of the broadcast here if Sziky somehow loses this game. But literally, I mean, well, we are going to play this out. It looks like that 1 DT among the 10,000 Zerg units cancels the hatchery.
He's a god. Got 5 kills too, and he's sharking to that mineral line. As soon as he knows that there's no Overlord there, he's going to go, oh, well, he can't even go in because the Spore's there. Well, if this was StarCraft 2, he could blink over that wall and get into that mineral line at the 4th base, but yeah, he doesn't have blink.
Maybe we should take a look at the first person real quick.
Look at that. Found an opening.
Of Sziky, maybe?
Okay, he does see the DT, so he pulls off the drones, and he's going to start putting...
He doesn't see that bottom left base. He just has no idea it's there. He has 2k minerals, though. Like, the thing is, even if Bonyth mines from this forever, like, it's going to take forever to him. Like, he's not going to be able to even out the resource discrepancy. He's doing the best he can.
But he's doing what he should. Oh, he does know about bottom left. He's got Dark Swarm coming in. I love the lurker sitting at that ramp, making sure that reinforcements cannot just move there. He's got to purposely move to the left side and then back down. Great Dark Swarm on top of the gateway. Does not get on top of the cannons though, but doesn't matter. Link just chew through it. Lurkers need to move into position though, because these DTs and odds are going to snipe them down.
Yeah, I mean, but finally they do, and the swarm is going to come down here. So many Zerg units, so much orange cloud. Not enough Protoss steel, or I mean, Psi, I guess. Steel.
That's an amazing storm. He gets 2 out of the 3, and the probes have not died just yet, but still supplies are 150 to just 110. The Observer, okay, is still alive. DT is still alive, but can't swipe down these lurkers for free anymore with the Overlords sitting there in support.
Yeah, well, looks like he has reached it, and Bonyth just doesn't have units here to defend. I mean, those probes are going to go down, and Zerg units finally putting an end here to Bonyth. Well, GG gets called. That was the biggest Gypsy GG timing I've ever had. I think some people will be really happy with that one. But Sziky does tie it up 1-1.
Yeah, and critical map for him because going down 2-0 in a best of 5, almost impossible. So nicely done from Sziky there, and he looked really good. And despite the crazy opener from Bonyth, remember he had 3 stairs before Scourge got out. I don't think I've ever seen a better opener for him. He was not able to make any mid-game timing work, and Sziky, he stopped it, then got to late game as you mentioned, and just took it from there. Now this was Tau Cross, where it's so hard to get a 4th base, and the remaining maps that are in the pool, so let me look. Polypoid, Eclipse, and Blindside, like that's not gonna happen again.
Yeah, but Eclipse and Polypoid are the next 2 maps, and those are maps that are gonna definitely, I mean, Sziky's gonna feel great about because they are ladder maps, and time again in this tournament we've seen Sziky kind of default to these standard maps. Though you would have expected him to win on Shakuras. That's again the big kind of question mark for me. This game, or at least this series so far. And the problem on Tau Cross for Bonyth is that, you know, honestly, Tau Cross is a pretty decent Protoss map in that early mid-game stage, because you have that 3rd base that's very nearby and defensible, and it has a gas, and you have a lot of, like, you know, your natural is very well defended, and you have a lot of space to use when you're goon busting. Like, it's very hard for Zerg to have lurkers and sunks and whatever to really defend. But you need to have crisp execution on that mid-game attack, right? Like, you need to be so crisp. And we saw Bonyth just kind of falter with his build order a bit and miss that attack timing and just fall apart totally after, because there's no, like, you know, as Protoss, you know, on Shakuras, Bonyth just double expanded. He's like, okay, I'm going to just play this game out. You don't have that option on Tau Cross.
Yeah, so we're going to go into a quick break, and then we'll be back with Game 3 of our best of 5 between Bonyth and Sziky. Okay,
that's
both. Wow.
Well, actually, at least range kicked in. If this, you know, if this was a second game with no range, this game was over. But actually, Bonyth still punishing Oya here. No shuttle for Oya G. This is massive. There's pounce on the shuttle.
Oh my gosh, 1 health, and it survives.
He's still going. He's crazy.
He got
this
it.
Bonyth guy.
Yeah, oh, he got it, and that was not what Bonyth was looking for. That was a big.
Oh, is he gonna load up the? No. He does. How many probes go down? A chunk. But is the shuttle gonna die?
Oh, he gives up his shuttle and Reaver, and that is okay. Well, he gets 2 more probes, but that's not what you were looking for. Escape supplies are slightly in favor of OUG, but there's 2 DTs moving across the map, and this is the perfect timing because it's about to start getting nuts. And with the game, oh, does the observer see it? No, it doesn't, because that's not even
That's
OUG
actually
observer.
Bonyth. Yeah,
that's Bonyth's observer. But now the observer sees it, but OUG can't turn around. He's gonna lose so much. He does turn around, but that's also gonna bottleneck him now at his natural. And you can see Bonyth, he's instantly counterattacking.
The timing on these DTs is incredible. I mean, OUG gives up the position, and now he just completely contained this one DT inside the base. Is still killing probes.
Yeah, but there's action at the front, and OUG can't balance both. And that's 1 Reaver falling. The shuttle's super low, but he doesn't catch it. But the Reavers of OUG are not firing. Their supplies now plummeted down to 75. The main is getting ransacked. 11 probe kills on that DT. And this is probably going to be the end. But there's 3 Reavers here, and they're packing quite a punch. What's he
Reaver
doing?
shuttle coming inside the main.
Oh
it's
my
gonna kill
God.
so many probes, but actually he targeted the Dragoon, so the probes get out alive. But then this DT's just fighting 10 probes in the Dragoon alone.
He's gonna kill it.
Dragoon,
He's gonna kill
and now
it.
he's gonna go back to killing some more probes. It's so annoying. Meanwhile, Bonyth is pushing in the front. The 1 Reaver is killing 2 Reavers off the shuttle in conjunction.
Oh.
Just an amazing micro from Bonyth. That Reaver's still green health, but it actually goes down inside the shuttle.
Get the DT on camera. How many kills he at? Guys, we are back with more BSL. Our first semifinals, Bonyth versus Sziky, has really delivered 2 games. Both of them went to, what, about 30 minutes? And they've been real slugfest. First on Shakuras, Bonyth taking a win. And then Sziky bringing it back on Tau Cross. Now we're going to have Ziky's pick, and map is going to be Eclipse. And if, you know, Sziky takes a win here, all that's remaining are the standard ladder maps. And, you know, Sziky might be, I don't know, I don't want to say a favorite, but he might be preparing or setting up for a really solid game 4 and potentially take this series potentially 3-1.
Yeah, well, we were talking about how this is kind of his comfort zone, these ladder maps, Eclipse, Poly, Shakuras. So it's definitely a good time for him to just kind of convert his advantage here. But we'll have to see. I mean, again, he did drop the ball when he played on Shakuras. So Bonyth definitely not out of it just yet. And in general, Sziky's not really too aggressive. So I feel like Bonyth is going to be able to get into a nice kind of position here into the mid game to contest this game.
Well, I was thinking about it. It just hit me right now. And just thinking about probably Bonyth's thoughts here, where if he gets into like a 2-0 lead or 1-1 like we're having right now, and Eclipse gets picked as the 3rd map, you know what we haven't seen this season? The 1 base. And what better map than Eclipse?
I remember we were talking about this forever, about when are we going to see Bonyth throw down that 1 base Reaver. It's never going to happen.
No, not the 1 base Reaver, but the 1 base opener.
It's just not going to happen, dude. The game is ready. Players are Good to go. Let's get into it.
You missed your cue again, man. We're ready to rumble, baby. We got Bonyth in the top right in the blue.
And in the bottom left, it is Sziky in that red.
I want to see it. I want to see that pylon in the main. Show it to me. Please. I'm waiting for some shenanigans. Now, ASL, we saw an interesting play on this map. Won't spoil it, but we saw some clever play from Mini, as I pointed out, with the no scout style. He had a nice move on this map in particular. No! He's sending that probe down to the natural. Now, with the natural pylon, we still have opportunity for some crazy builds. In the round of 24, we saw Sins. Did you see that game? Sins versus, I think it was Effort?
Yeah.
You did see it. Well, this
yeah,
guy
surprised. Well, I don't remember it at all. I remember
How do you
getting
not
absolutely blasted by Effort.
You would remember it. He walked to reverse across the map with double robo. No shuttle.
What?
Just walked him. Okay, see, I knew you didn't see it.
Wait, no, wasn't that the... I just remember Effort killing Sins with, like, the first couple links.
No, he walked to reverse across the map with
oh, wait, I think
he walked them across the map.
Okay, well, what's your point?
You think we can see that? We're not going to see the one base Reaver. You think Bonyth has seen that game and he's like, you know what, Sins? I've perfected it now. I can walk Reavers better than you can. No,
I'm convinced BSL players don't actually watch Korean games ever.
I don't know about that.
Well, maybe some do, but it's a very small minority. Looks like Bonyth does scout here. He is going for that Gate Expo. You know, on Eclipse, it's one of the very few maps where, well, we've seen Forge kind of making its way back into the meta very recently. And especially on Eclipse, it's one of the maps where you can open Forge, especially on these positions, because there are some nasty cannon rushes you can do on this bottom left natural base. But Bonyth opting for his tried and tested Gate Expo. So far, though, this series, you know, Bonyth has opened Gate Expo every single game. But it seems like it's been completely stuffed by Sziky time and again. You know, Bonyth has just kind of chilled at his base with the Zealots. And he doesn't really put on too much pressure. He plays super passively. And that's kind of surprising to see Bonyth kind of play that way.
Well, not passive this time. We've got the Zealot actually committing. He's just going to run by and be like, what up, man? I'm just going to that main looking for those drones. Meanwhile, Nexus still comes down first. It's not going to be a Forge, or at least not just yet. Meanwhile, third hatch is going to be going up at mid-left for Sziky. This gas timing seems very reminiscent of what we've seen all day long, which is going to be the Spire opener. Now, that's a great surround with the Lings, yet still, Bonyth trades very effectively, but he is going to get the Zealot! And that is very unorthodox for Bonyth to lose his Zealot this quickly. Even the probe glitched out onto the Zealot and allowed the Zealot to get taken down even faster. And this is already a great opener for Sziky.
Yeah, but Bonyth does keep that probe very healthy and is still scouting around the Zerg space, which is the most important part. He did force also a decent amount of Zerglings, and he did trade that one Zealot for 3 Lings, so, you know, ooh, it looks like Sziky even made a couple more Lings from his natural, which is a bit of a mistake. I mean, he's making even more Zerglings here. Definitely a bit of a blunder, because he has that Overlord spotting outside of Bonyth's space. There's really no reason to make these Lings, but he did. So, as played, looks like Bonyth is going to be quite happy to see that with this probe. I was gonna say, like you mentioned, that was a solid hold for Sziky, but making these Lings makes it so worth for Bonyth.
Yeah, Cybernetics is about halfway done. Cannon being put up the main. Make sure that any potential Ling, Hydra Flutter, whatever, doesn't breach him. And we do see that that probe is still alive, still getting off the crucial scouting. Now, it didn't go down to the natural at any point, and I haven't seen anybody hide a Hydra Den down there, but that could have been an option. And we know that Sziky so far in all of the games has gone for lurkers. This time around, I didn't see the Hydra Den down there. I think Spire ended up being built down there. Oh, nope, that's an Overlord. So for now, we still don't know what this is. It has to be Spire. Yeah, there it is. Finally goes down. And this is going to be much better than last game. It's going to be a similar timing to the Stargate. So Scourge should get out in time. I don't even think that he'll pop a single Overlord.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that's the case. I mean, it's weird because Bonyth has had that super fast tech both games here, but this time around just not quite getting there. I mean, this Corsair should be able to kill the one Overlord in front of Bonyth's base, but at the same time, like, Protoss, you really want to get into the Zerg's base ASAP with that Corsair just to make sure you're not getting Hydra all in. Of course, like Corsair, it pops out at around the time where the Hydralisk would come in and attack, so you really need to confirm that to add cannons in time. Though Sziky, we've literally never seen him play aggressively except for that game versus Tim in the round of 24, where he uncharacteristically opened with a 9 pull. But bar that, every time I see Sziky play kind of like these, anyone who's established in the BSL, he plays so standard, man, and he never, ever plays aggressively.
Well, this is one of the maps where you can get aggressive with Mutalisk. We see that he is approaching the 500 gas. He does not have gas at his natural, so it's not going to be a Muta Flood. But first couple Corsairs are out. First one may end up taking down this Overlord. Nope, Scourge pop out in time. And now Bonyth has got to run away. Let's see if the Scourge can intercept this Sair. Ooh, he's gaining ground on him.
It's like a speed racer or something.
Yeah.
Dude, have you ever watched this anime called Red Line?
No, I have not.
You should. It's incredible. It's absolutely insane. It's about racing. So I know you'd like it.
Of course it is. I know. You know, I was going to ask you when you were telling me that Ziky's in the driver's seat, I was going to ask you think he's got the wheel out?
Yeah, he's got the wheel out. He bought that Logitech G229 or like the Fnatic X17. I don't know. Dude, I'm telling you, man, sim racing is where it's at. I know there's probably a bunch of degenerates in the chat that do sim racing as well. Of course, racing is pretty popular in Europe. It's not so well, actually, you know what's weird about racing is that it's popular in the US, but kind of like the potato racing, the oval racing. Like, who cares about oval racing? It's so dumb.
Well, I'm not into racing, so I don't know, but we've got 2 DTs in the third base, and they just straight up want to fight these Hydras. 5th Hydra pops out, and I guess that's a little bit too much for the DTs to handle. One is going to walk away, while the other one got eliminated. And this was quite the investment from Bonyth. He's building up his Sair count, also spent resources on those expensive DTs. And you can see behind it, he has 2 gates. That's it. So he has really no powerful mid game right now. There we go. There's the gateway flood.
Yeah, he's adding a couple more gates here, getting ready for his timing goo. Hopefully this time around. Well, last game he was already pushing out with the Zealots. You know, 8 minutes in. He does have a DT this time around though, so it's gonna sneak in, get a couple of drones. How does this happen right in front of your face, Sziky? You're not paying attention. You can see the DT. Unfortunately for him, actually the DT went for a couple swipes on that Hydralisk. It didn't quite like how he was staring at him. So missed out on basically 2 more drone kills there, but that was obviously pretty good for Bonyth. He really needs to make these Corsairs work, right? Like we saw last game just how poorly the game went for Bonyth because he invested so heavily into Corsairs but just didn't quite get the damage he needed to with them. And this game, he doesn't actually have a Zealot push going here, so I'm actually a bit worried for Bonyth.
Yeah, I'm worried that the gateways are so late, and we know that Sziky already has 6 hatches, and you know for a fact that he did not miss drone cycles. He's got good saturation across the board, so even though there's a 30 supply lead for Bonyth right now, Sziky's gonna explode in supply any moment now. We see Bonyth is starting to move out across the map, but this is 6 hatch Hydra. This is gonna be so many units, and I think now we're at like 8 gate for Protoss, something like that. Plus
Oh
one
my
weapon
god!
has actually 9 gate again.
Dude, Sziky just placed his 7th hatchery I don't think he even has the decent. I mean, that's very light saturation. It's good saturation, but it's very light at the third base, and even at the main a bit. Just, I mean, you obviously as Zerg having 1 drone to 1 mineral is pretty good, but kind of you want to have a bit more for more production here, and taking this base so early as Sziky is risky because he's not really making enough Hydralisks to hold on, but it just looks like Bonyth does not have the mid-game macro timings that he needs to have in this matchup to punish something like this.
Yeah, well, he's starting to move out right now. There's 5 goons, a couple of Templars. Not sure what the range upgrade is. It complete or what, or if he has Robo or anything. Okay, Observatory just finished, so observers are going to be coming out pretty soon. Haven't seen a single lurker for Sziky, and okay, now they're being morphed, so it is going to, well, it's not going to be in time. And if, lurkers are at top middle, so this is going to deny the third base, but at the same time, this is not a lot of defense for, wow, he backs off.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the supply. Like, Protoss doesn't really have an opening here. You know, generally Protoss should be comfortably 30 supply ahead. They should have a lot of Dragoons here. Instead, Bonyth is just trying to expand behind this, but is getting stopped. Oh my god, dude, Sziky's just running away with this game.
Supplies are still very good for Protoss, but he needs to cancel. Thank you. He cancels and saves the Nexus. Forget who I was watching where they got their Nexus canceled like 3 times. Like, actually, it got killed. It didn't... It wasn't saved, so nicely done from Bonyth to save it on the last hit. But he is struggling to get his third base up and running. Oh, Templar gets sniped! Another Templar gets sniped, but he loses a decent amount of Hydras there. But he does have a sizable army, 150 to 115. But as you mentioned, that 4th base is already up for Sziky.
Yeah, it is up for Sziky, and I just don't know what Bonyth can do here. It's going to be really hard for Bonyth to at least break the Zerg player. So, you know, most likely if you're Protoss, you kind of want to double expand in this situation. Really, there's no other choice.
Oh my gosh. Well, when you see this amount of lurkers and 4th base already up, you're not feeling good as Protoss, because where do you attack now? 3rd base has high ground. 4th base has high ground, kinda. Natural always has the great SimCity. I actually think Bonyth should even give up on attacking right now and just take a 4th base, or take take top middle or bottom right. He definitely needs 2nd Forge, because every game so far I've seen Sziky match the upgrades. How many evolution chambers does he have? I think that's the first one I saw. Oh, okay, he does have double upgrades. So yeah, he's gonna have matching upgrades pretty soon. Sares get taken out again.
Well, no, Bonyth is at a 6 supply here, 177, close to 180. So many Dragoons. If he can find the right angle here where there's not too many lurkers, and he can find the right storm, that's a decent storm, but the juicy clump of Hydras is at the bottom there. Doesn't quite connect with those just yet. Still a lot of Dragoons here. Templars are getting in range to pass a couple of storms. One goes down there on a couple of Hydralisks, but Sziky micros it back well. And again, Bonyth looks like he's found a decent spot here, but will he have enough units? It looks like Sziky's pushing forward. That's not really advisable, but it looks like Bonyth just doesn't have enough storm. That's 3 Templar. No storms in sight.
I don't know what he's afraid of. This is 1 group of Hydras and 5 lurkers. Like, yeah. Is there anything else? He decided that he didn't want to fight that. It would be different if there were like more Hydras or Lings in the back, but there just aren't. Now he's decided that, oh, you actually don't have anything? Okay, I'm just going to jump on this. And lurkers are now moving into position, but as you mentioned,
oh, juicy
great
storm on this.
Storm hits a lot of the lurkers, and now it's 150 to just 110 supply.
Yeah, but no storm to work with, so if, you know, it's very possible that the Zerg units can whittle down this army if it does not stay clumped together. Bonyth, though, most of his units are kind of just AFK, Dragoons not really connecting. You can see Bonyth is trying to double expand in the meantime, but that's just not possible when your entire army is
kind of disjuncted from the bases that you're trying to take, it would almost be just better for him to take bottom right in this situation. But now, because Protoss is expanding to top left here, he is going to be forced to commit more on that side of the map if he wants to keep that Nexus alive.
Yeah, he is starting to take top middle. That base, that Nexus almost got killed. It was at 11 health. There's the second forge. There's support base. So again, we're going to have Reaverman triple or double robotics so far. Third base, no robo there. He's not mining his gas there. You need to start mining that Bonyth. That's a big misstep right there. Hopefully he fixes that soon. Meanwhile, another attack to the fourth base. Only Zealots. You can see that Bonyth is scrambling into position. This Nexus could get focused down, but instead, I think Sziky should think about retreating, but instead he's just going to try and force the fight.
But not quite enough Zerg units just yet to defend this base. It's still a decent amount of Dragoons. I feel like Bonyth does switch off of Dragoons pretty early consistently here, and doesn't really help his cause. Like, I feel like before Zerg has any defilers, you should be constantly having at least a control group and a half, if not two, of Dragoons, but instead Bonyth's just constantly making Zealots that aren't really going to help him. And honestly, I feel like if Zerg just keeps sending units here, they might whittle down this position. It looks like Bonyth just never has enough Storm or Zealot or units to deal with the Zerg player, though this is going to be a good concave, a good angle for Protoss to take a fight. But every time, and look at these units, they're just pumping up. They're trying to get outside of the range of the lurkers, yes, of course, but they're taking so much damage and they're just getting into not that great of a position. And finally, oh man, Bonyth is struggling in this game.
Yeah, and okay, more Templars are going to blink at those bottom lurkers. Another Storm would be amazing. He's going to hit those lurkers too. He's going to morph an Archon. Supplies are again back down to 150 or 140 to 120. Zerglings had or do have Hive upgrades, so they are super strong. They don't have the weapon damage just yet. Okay, now they do, of course, as I say that. And Sziky's going to be the one to start taking bottom right. And this is going to get dicey for Bonyth, because if he splits the map towards top left, well, this is a map where he'll have 5 bases versus 6. If Zerg gets all of bottom right, look at how fast those Zealots die.
Yeah, but honestly, in the late game here is where this map gets so tricky for Protoss. Once the Zerg starts to expand to this bottom right location and constantly has units in the top left location, Protoss, it's hard for Protoss to really split their units to pressure both sides of the map. And if Protoss commits to top left, then it's going to be 2 bases to bottom right against the 1 base at top left. Now, obviously, that top left base has more mineral fields, more gas than 1 base at bottom right, but the 2 in combination at bottom right is going to be way more resources than top left. So just in general, it's going to be a headache for Protoss to deal with this. We'll have to see if Bonyth, this is the type of map where that late game harassment is really going to come into play. He's going to have to do a lot of work to keep that bottom right from being established fast. But I just don't see Bonyth breaking any position.
He still doesn't have the 3rd gas. And once he realizes at some point, maybe after it's mined out and transfers his probes, he's going to be kicking himself because he's gas starved the whole game. Main and natural should be basically depleted. If he had this gas running, he probably mines 2,000 gas by now. That's, maybe 10, 12 additional Templars. Oh, and supplies are dangerously close, 170 to 150. Never a great situation for Protoss, especially when they're down a base, because Sziky's got bottom right. He's also got matching upgrades again. It's at 1 to 2 versus 2 to 1. And here comes another attack from Protoss, but not a lot of AoE other than the Reaver and, 2 Templars?
Yeah, double shuttle here. And Bonyth just, we saw him on the Shakur's game. He had a really hard time ever kind of mounting a big significant attack, but on Eclipse it's going to be even harder because, with this main army, if you commit to the middle of the map or if you commit to bottom right, then suddenly top left is open. And then if you commit to top left, then you're not pressuring bottom right. So it's just so hard for Protoss to put on any pressure just due to how the map layout plays out. So we'll have to see. There's a lot of shuttles, though, for Bonyth. Again, he has that multiple robotics
setup.
Well, another big attack coming from Bonyth, but Zerg is almost maxed out. Something I have not seen is I have not seen Defiler anywhere. He needs to get the Cloud synced up with these Lings. It makes them so much more powerful. That is a ton of Lurkers and a ton of Lings moving into position. But as I stated, there's still no Defiler. He's going to catch a couple of these Archons. They don't have +3 just yet. So they're, well, they actually don't even have +2 just yet. So they're not able to one-shot those Lings. But those Storms were great. But again, he trades Templars for Lings.
Yeah, Templars for Lings, not quite the trade you want to have. And you can see, like, Bonyth is just making absolutely no progress. He's not denying any bases. He's not really killing any units, not really killing any drones, and he's not taking bases himself. It's kind of like the Protoss has just stagnated here after taking those 4 bases, and Zerg is just slowly but surely growing. So the ball is in Bonyth's court. He has to hit a shot, but it's not quite clear what the course of action should be.
Well, he needs to get that 3rd gas at top middle. Please just mine it. It's still not mining. God, I keep looking at his gas. I'm like, man, you are so low on gas all game long. Now he's floating a bit of gas, and his main and that should be dry or depleted. I mean, those 2 Reavers fall. That's a great plague again onto a lot of the units. And just making these attacks over and over into this choke is not working for Bonyth. And as you mentioned, it'd be different if he was taking base at the same time. Somehow, Sziky's the one that's actually taking top left, the madman.
Yeah, I mean, he's taking every base. Why not? Like, it's not like these resources, it's not like it's expensive, hatchery at this stage of the game, and it's just putting on so much more pressure for Protoss. And if they don't clear out hatcheries, and you get Niduses going, it's just a nightmare. And not just that, I mean, Sziky knows Protoss doesn't have an expansion there, so that's additional information. Looks like Bonyth finally finding a decent angle here. He's going to get in between a couple of bases. This is going to be much more annoying for Zerg to deal with, though I'm not quite sure Bonyth will be able to kill any of these bases, mid left or top left. Darkstorm goes down with the Lurkers. The Reavers do get picked up, but now the units are getting pincered from all over the place. Northwest and south. Units coming in to flank this Protoss ball. So much catch-up too, so much seasoning on that Protoss ball. Zerg is ready to eat it all up, but it looks like the Protosses are fighting back, surviving. Archon, Dragoon, Reavers, just so incredibly efficient.
Yeah, I don't know how this army is still alive, because this is Lings on top of Plague Goons and just 2 Reavers and 2 Archons, really. But those Reavers are doing work along with the Archons, and now finally it gets cleaned up. But that was an amazing trade for Bonyth. Like, after the Plagues went down, I'm like, okay, well, this is all dead in a heartbeat. But actually didn't die as quickly as I thought. More Lings are moving in to take out these Reavers. There's no reaction. That Reaver is going to fall. Bottom Reaver does not fall just yet. And then he consumes all of his Lings. Oh, no, he doesn't. More come in and now are going to... Oh, he's going to take... Oh, I thought he was going to save that Archon, actually. But Sziky has a decent chunk of drones just sitting there. And Bonyth sees that. He's going to wipe those out. See you, drone. And bottom right, I see a blue spot down there. So that might be bottom right as the 5th base for Bonyth.
Yeah, but this 5th base is a bit late here. And as you keep mentioning, Nyokin, Bonyth just hasn't been mining that 3rd gas forever. It would be such a different game. There's probably 5,000 gas in that geyser, man. Like, that could have been so many more Templars, so many more Archons. Maybe that could have been the big 2 control groups of Dragoons in the mid game.
Yeah, but look at this Reaver and Archon. I'm getting flashbacks to the Eon Zerg game. I mean, I'm watching a Reaver just dictate the super late game here, picking apart Sziky. Finally, the shuttle dies, but this 3rd and 4th base for Sziky hasn't been running for like 2 minutes now. Okay, he has a lot of drones at top left, and supplies are still dangerously high for him, but that was the move that Bonyth needed to get back into the game. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to get that bottom right base up and running, and it feels like this might be his last breath.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how Bonyth has done it, but he has. It looks like Zerg is broke. Killed all the drones somehow, a la Eon Zerg game. And despite the fact that Sziky was
basically in an unlosable position. I mean, let's just put it like that. Zerg was so far ahead. Somehow he's getting broken here. I mean, Protoss is on. He's on 2 bases, and those bases aren't going to be mining for much longer. Zerg has every single other base on the map, but he just can't stop the ball.
Yeah, Protoss needs to keep reinforcing this. If Protoss can take down, well, this isn't even an important base because it's not mining. But he needs to just keep reinforcing this ball, make sure it does not whittle down, does not lose his key units like the Archon and the Reaver. More Lings are streaming across the map. Once that Reaver gets taken down, all these are exposed Archons and Zealots and Goons.
Yeah, well, I mean, this hatchery's going to go down, and one has to wonder, where are the drones mining? Some top left, I'm sure he has the bottom. Yeah, that's a lot of drones there. His third is also saturated, but it just, I don't know, like, Sziky's supply just got deleted or something. I don't know if Bonyth like input some kind of cheat codes or what, but Sziky was like ahead of, like, he was at a really healthy supply, and when Bonyth came into this kind of the juncture in between the 4th base and the 3rd base, all the Zerg units just kind of like ran into a lawnmower. You know, like, this was basically Bonyth's grass, his lawn, and he was like, yep, it's time for a trim here, guys, and he just passed over all those Zerg units, and Sziky hasn't been able to recover since.
Yeah, and now top left is potentially going to get breached. There's double Reaver there, but I think the Sunkens actually did not focus down one of them. The Lurker gets taken out, but more Lurkers and Lings coming into the back. Supplies are dangerously close. It's still 90 to 130. The drones did not get wiped out, but these Reavers are killing so many Lings, and now bottom right may actually get up for Bonyth. He's got so many Reavers. He still has great econ somehow. I thought he was going to mine out his 3rd base pretty soon, but that's not the case. It's okay, now it's mined out, but the 3rd gas still not running, but he's going to have a huge influx of minerals at bottom right pretty soon. Also, once he transfers the probes, he's going to realize, oh, I wasn't mining gas here, and that could you know, be an influx of gas coming in pretty soon. But another Ling Lurker attacks bottom right. Meanwhile, top left is being busted at the same time.
Well, man, especially if Bonyth gets up his bottom right base and he gets probes there mining, and maybe he notices that there's extra gas to be had at his 12 o'clock. It could be really hard for Sziky to come back.
The drones are clumping up, and from downtown does not get the good connection, but that hatchery is about to be eliminated. Sunken's going to get taken down. Hydras and Lurkers are trying to save the day. Focuses down one Reaver. Can he get the 2nd Reaver? He does, and this attack is going to get cleaned up.
Well, doesn't seem like that hatchery's gonna go down actually, and all of a sudden, it's like the tides have turned
Protoss is mined out.
Yeah,
Protoss is mined out.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, it's just a matter of time until these bases for Bonyth will mine out. It's so important for him to establish this bottom right mining base, but with Hive kicking in here in a very low econ situation, that's definitely gonna favor Zerg. And unfortunately, I still don't think Bonyth realizes that he has a bunch of gas left. You know, the one kind of silver lining for Protoss in late game situations and low econ situations like this is that most of the time you do have a lot of gas left over. You can get so much efficiency out of minerals by just making Archons, but it just doesn't seem like Bonyth has the gas ever to make Archons.
And he didn't end up mining that 3rd gas at the 3rd base. So he's still gas starved. I'm so sad about this. And Sziky, he's got 5 bases. Protoss has 5 bases, but he's only mining on 1 base. Meanwhile, Sziky is still mining on 2 bases just because of how Zerg works, and he's retaking the 3rd base at mid left. But both players, I think, are afraid to attack at this point because they're so low, so the game may stabilize for a bit of time, and it could give Sziky the time he needs to re-stabilize mid-left. But as I say, that's not the case. Reavers are going to move to top left along with the majority of Bonyth's army.
Yeah, and, well, again, it's going to be difficult for Protoss to make anything happen, though he does have Reavers to work with. They can siege Lurkers out of position, basically. But his army is just mostly Zealots, and they're just not that good against Lurkers. I mean, They're doing a good job trading. Ooh, those juicy scarabs though. God damn, they kill all the lings. But I mean, there's just no answer to the lurkers on the Dark Swarm.
Yeah, really the only thing that he can use to bust through is the Storm and Reavers, and that's what he's going to be doing. But I think Sziky's going to hold on to top left for now. There's not that much defense other than the 4 lurkers. That's going to be 2 lurkers dying, and maybe this base will be breached. Hydras and lurkers are moving into position. Another Dark Swarm goes off, but doesn't really help him that much.
Yeah, there's just no Scourge. The thing is, like, the Scourge would so easily snipe this shuttle. There's only one Archon. It's kind of easy to outmaneuver that, and, well, it doesn't matter. The Zerg numbers are slowly increasing here on this side of the map, and this paltry kind of Protoss force will be dealt with shortly. Bonyth has probably a couple more units rallied at his natural. That's one thing that Bonyth does struggle with, is just using those macroed units to rally them in time to keep the pressure going. I mean, look at his micro, it's incredible, but the thing is, he doesn't have that many units, and finally the Reaver goes down, and with the Reaver down, he lost all the pressure here, and now, because Bonyth hasn't reinforced this position, it gives so much breathing room to Sziky to just kind of reestablish defenses there.
I think he may have realized the 3rd gas because I see it shooting up much. No, he still doesn't. I thought it was shooting up faster than it usually was. But yeah, losing the Reavers, that's critical, and he has double Reaver at bottom right, which of course is defending his base. But imagine if he had 4 Reavers at top left, he would have easily busted through. Now the standing army is Zealots and 3 Templars, and they're gonna get chewed apart into the Lurker, Ling, Meat Grinder at top left, especially if Sunken start getting plopped down too. There's the first one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's incredibly difficult to siege these positions late game as Protoss. You really need to hinge on that shuttle and Reaver, and again, every game, Bonyth is doing so well with these Reavers, but it's always just 1 shuttle and 2 Reavers. It's never 2 shuttles. It's never 3 shuttles. If there was just like 4 Reavers unloading on this position, what's Zerg gonna do? And you know, I just wish Bonyth would bring more Reavers and more shuttles with these pushes. He'd be making so much more progress.
Oh, he loses another Reaver just barely, and Sziky is just barely holding on. These Zealots and Archons on hold position. Hydra's able to deal a little bit. He snipes a Templar. Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for the Defiler to come out, and if he can get off another juicy plague, that would really, really hurt the standing army from Bonyth. Well, that one was not a juicy plague, but getting on top of those Zealots would be fantastic. It does make the shuttle dangerously low, though.
Yeah, well.
Oh, there we go. Second shuttle coming in. Does it have Reavers? It does. At least just one.
They both have a couple Reaver inside. Well, 23 kills on that one Reaver is incredible. But yeah, still not enough Reavers to really punch through here. And every second that Sziky holds on to this base is getting him closer to the victory, because he's there we go. He's mining mineral. He's mining from so many bases. Oh my god, he's making Guardians.
Yeah. He's going to morph Guardians, and, well, if you're just going to sit on hold position with everything other than Reavers, well, I'll just hit you with these Guardians. Let's see if we can hold position versus them. Meanwhile, the Reavers may finally find access into this drone line. Sziky needs to run those drones. He's going to lose his drones. And supplies are now 150 for Bonyth, just 95 for Sziky. Uh-oh, Scourge are finally going to come in and try and get a connection.
Well, there's nothing defending this this shuttle, so looks like finally Sziky figures out that Scourge can kill shuttles.
And he didn't show the Guardians. So if Bonyth comes in for another attack, well, he's going to have a rude awakening. Or if Bonyth, for whatever reason, doesn't... Okay, he is going to keep attacking to top left. Does he? No. Please. This is painful.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just, I'm not quite sure what the Protoss plan is here. Bonyth's just never going to be able to break through this. Like, there's just so many bases mining for Zerg as well. These Guardians finally come into play. Scourge pop out. They're going to kill that shuttle. these units are all gonna die. But I mean, like, Guardians aren't that good because they're gonna get stormed here, and they're pretty. I mean, they're slow. They're like flying crabs. You don't really expect crabs to be fast in the air, and they're just getting stormed down. Totally worthless units. This is why you don't see Guardians in ZVP.
What happened? I thought that the Guardians were going to be game changing, but instead they eat storms and they're all going to die.
Oh my god.
And the base
man.
gets eliminated.
Are you
and I was
serious?
watching this. Bottom middle's mined out. Mid left is basically mined out. So Bonyth, how did he do this? And he's going to take top left.
Yeah, well. No,
I
no
can't believe it.
comment.
I can't believe it.
I don't know, like. GG.
He taps out. Unreal. Actually unreal. I have no idea how that happened. Bonyth on 4 gas on 5 bases, doesn't use 5,000 gas, and Ziggy has 6 bases, and he still ends up taking the game. The Reavers were heroic. Every single Reaver had like 25 kills. That's nuts.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. Again, Sziky, like on that game on Shakuras, had everything at his disposal to win the game and just couldn't. Just couldn't.
I thought the Guardians were going to be more effective than that, but for some reason...
Well, the reality is the Guardians might be effective if he had the lurkers there. And also, like, whether you have 7 Guardians or 3 Guardians, I feel like they do the same thing. Like, more Guardians just kind of get stormed down more easily, but Guardians alone, like, without the support of lurkers, like, if Templars can just walk up to them and storm them down, like, they're just worthless.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. Unfortunately, he didn't have the Guardians in time when the Reavers were dealing with the lurkers forever. So a bit of a unlucky timing to come up with that idea for Ziki, and now he's down 2-1. And Bonyth, I don't know how he pulled that out, but that was crucial for him, and I'm sure he's watching the replay, and when he sees that third gas wasn't mining, he's gonna be like, oh, actually, I made this way harder than it needed to be, and I still won. So he's probably gonna be feeling pretty good about that. And now it's gonna be on Polypoid as our game 4, and Bonyth is 1 game away from sealing the deal, and this is his pick.
Yeah. Well, it looks like maybe the Big Jip will finally get 1 prediction right in his life. Because I still think it is going to be a 3-1 for Bonyth. And on Polypoid especially, it's going to go into that late game situation. And it just doesn't seem like it's Ziky's day. Like, Tau Cross is just really bad for Protoss, like, past that mid-game phase. You know, like, there was no way for Bonyth to get 4th base, 5th base, and to really try and like grind out a victory. It's just impossible on that map. But on Polypoid, for days, man, for days. There's so many bases to use, and just based on these previous games, I don't know. I'm not feeling too confident in Ziky's chances here.
Well, we do know that Bonyth will take bases. He won't just sit on 4 base for, forever. Like on Shakuras, he did take 6 bases, so it's not going to be an issue of, well, will he forget to take bases and starve out? That's not going to happen. He will take 7, 8 bases if it gets to that phase. But, in previous seasons of BSL, we saw Ziky get into a good position on Polypoid, but then unfortunately, he was out of position. I remember in particular in the mid game, and it cost him every game that happened. And so far today, he has really not been out of position at all. So I think that this is a good map for Ziky. And really any map that has a lot of bases actually kind of favors Zerg, because once they start getting, like insane amount of hatches, like 15 hatches or whatever, seems like they just hit the pedal and units just flood non-stop. But we've seen Bonyth being able to match the macro, but you seem to think this is going to be a good map for Bonyth. I kind of like Ziky on here. Like, he played well on Shakuras, right? Like, everything was going fine until, really, he lost all those drones at bottom left.
I don't know. I feel like Ziky's really struggling. Even on that Tau Cross game, when they got late into the game there and Bonyth just took that base, I mean, Ziky had like 3k minerals. He was really struggling to just control his stuff, and
on this Eclipse game, he was so far ahead. He was so far ahead. He was so far ahead. So before getting into potentially what could be the last game or the last two games here, we are going to take a quick break, guys. Don't go anywhere. Oh, just kidding. Haha, forehand.
Oh.
Debated.
Yeah,
debated.
Ho face or sound, right? Mickey
Yeah.
Mouse sound. Yeah, we got debated. I get debated all the time.
Yeah, me too. I get debated talking to you.
Yeah, I know.
Polypoid is going to be the map here. Let's get straight into it, guys. Game 4. Bonyth on match point.
All right, in the top right, our king, one game away from making another finals appearance. It is Bonyth.
And bottom left, it is Sziky.
I was looking at the statistics on Polypoid and Eclipse. Did you notice that Protoss was favored 55% on both of these maps? Eclipse and Polypoid both had 55% win rate versus Zerg for Protoss.
Yeah, not surprising.
Maybe not surprising on Polypoid, but I found it quite
On
surprising
Eclipse?
on Eclipse. Yeah, because you look at it and you're like, okay, well, this third base is quite far. Shouldn't Zerg have an easy time shutting down the third base? Looks like we're going to have a rematch. I guess it's not the right format.
We're cutting back to the desk here, guys, in Poland.
It was not...
Not the right version.
How do you bombasticize Polypoid?
I don't know. You just do.
I know how you do blindside. Blindside.
Bombpoid. Bombapoid.
Polybomb, maybe. I don't know.
Polystoid.
Polystoid, yeah, okay. So wrong
poly
version,
stick.
guys. Yeah.
What is it?
So, no, he was talking...
Oh, BSL Einside. Yeah, but what's Polypoid? There's no Polypoid. BSL Polypoid. Bollyboid.
Polypoid, okay.
I don't know, dude.
Well,
Bombasticoid? Yeah, we can go to the game anytime. Get straight into the game, guys.
Hopefully same spawns, let's see it. Okay, so we have horizontal spawns this time in the top right. Our Protoss player, it is Bonyth.
Top left, it is Sziky in that brown Zerg.
Yeah, the brown Zerg. Well, again, we have not seen any one base play. Want to see it, man.
Oh, get out of here, man.
I want to see it, man.
You've been talking about one base play from Protoss
Because we never get to
Bonyth
see
for
it.
seasons, dude.
Because we never get to see. He's the only person that plays it. The only other.
No, he
time we
doesn't
see-
play it anymore. Clearly.
What do you
dude.
mean?
What I
yeah,
just
clearly.
said. Exactly
Clearly.
what I just
Last-
said. We haven't seen it.
Last time, last season, he saved it for the finals, so
Oh,
he
yeah, he
could
did,
still
right?
be saved. Oh, now look at this chat. Look at this chat. We never see it. We never see it. And then all of a sudden, I say one sentence, and oh yeah, we did see it last.
Did
season.
we see it?
Okay.
I don't really remember.
We
it.
did.
What did he
was in
do?
the finals.
And
I don't remember exactly how he followed up. It wasn't one base Reaver. We know that. What?
Oh.
Another rematch.
well,
We're back.
I wonder what that was about.
How do they know it's not the right version? Because is there something at the natural that gives it away? Oh, the gas position at the natural?
Could be.
I don't know why you can't
Well.
just pick the map from the ladder. That's the right version, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh well.
We'll
but,
get there at some point.
Okay.
I've been watching Blade Runner.
Okay.
I kind of started watching and then stopped watching in the middle of it. but I have to finish it. I guess you just haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, no. Mihai, you should know by now. I don't watch TV. I don't watch Blade Runner. I don't watch Star Trek. So I was looking at chat earlier. They reminded me I haven't seen Lord of the Rings.
Hey, oh my god, that's true. You also don't play video games.
No, that's not true. Actually, I bought Mario Kart.
But you watch
for-
wrestling.
I watched wrestling when I was younger. Back when it was real. You know?
Yeah, back when it was real. Dude, I remember some of the crazy storylines when I was... Like, remember when Kane kind of impregnated that lady?
No.
And then Kane also, like, kind of put Shawn Michaels, like, in one of that folding chairs and just completely popped his, like, neck and he was, like, bleeding and stuff. And I was like, oh my god, that's real, because I was 11 years old. And I'm like, this guy is... He is the spawn of the devil. The game is ready, guys. We're getting straight into it. You don't remember that, dude?
No.
Top right, it is brown Zerg Sziky. And in the top left, it is the blue Protoss Bonyth. Now, because I want to get back to this. Some of the storylines, man, that era were absolutely bonkers. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. But it really was believable. They, like, it's kind of interesting because I don't know what made them pivot here, but the WWE is, like, so much more transparent about how it's a performance now than it used to be. But yeah, like, people used to think it was real, man.
Not used to.
It was real. Yeah,
it was real. Now, you're bringing up Kane and all these people. I don't remember that, but what I do
Kane's
remember...
one of my favorites, dude.
I know who he is, but I don't remember exactly what he did. But I want to point this out.
He's the Undertaker's brother.
Yeah, I know. WCG 2005. Mankind was at USA Finals.
Oh yeah,
you know
Mick Foley?
Yeah, Nick Foley was at USA Finals, and we got to meet him. He's actually a pretty cool guy, and like, he loved video games, so that's why he was there.
He played StarCraft?
I don't think he played StarCraft, but he played
I feel like he'd be
games.
a Zerg player.
He looks like a Zerg player, yeah.
Yeah, he does. Dirty.
Well, we've got another gateway expand. Then we've got Overpool from Sziky. So both players have just decided that, okay, we're just going to play the same opener every time. The only thing that I've seen different is we're mixing the Protoss scout timing. Oh, it's a 9-pool, actually.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the first time that it is slightly different.
Yeah, 9-pool with the gas trick there. So kind of more economical here. It looks like he is going to get that hatchery going ASAP. Protoss in this situation does have to get that forge out early as well, as Bonyth is doing. So far, pretty standard from both players. For Sziky, with his 9-pool, is going to be able to maybe shut down the probe scout, maybe put on a bit more pressure than he has this series. But it's Sziky, like, do you expect him to throw in a 973 off of this?
Can you do that off of such an opener? I don't know if he could do that. Well, I'm sure you can, but I don't know if that's going to be his move. Cannon is coming up. First, Zealot is trying to move and deal with these lings as well as he can. We see that Sziky has sent a drone to mid-right, so that's where his third base is going to be. Meanwhile, Extractor going down for him. So, well, actually, Extractor is a little bit later than we've been seeing, but I guess that's probably because of the 9-pool opener.
Yeah, well, looks like off of this, well, Sziky did get that gas. Not quite mining it just yet. Bonyth does move out at a sick timing, though. Right as the Zerg takes the third base here, it's going to be very hard. Not just taking the third base, but also taking the gas. So it's going to be very hard for Sziky to afford any extra lings. And Bonyth is going to be able to get a... I mean, the probe was in the main base. Like, he's been full scouting everything. This is just a dream situation for Protoss. And he's going to be able to get up the ramp here. Not going to hold the ramp. He's going to go straight for the back line of the minerals here to get... Ooh, that one's out, though. Gets caught out of position, but he will walk his way on out of there somehow.
Yeah. That's a Zealot, man. He doesn't care.
Yeah, that's Vince McMahon there. Just
That's
walking
that's
away.
exactly how Vince McMahon walks. I know you've been watching the videos. You know that's true. That's how he walks. So we got the Vince McMahon zealot at the front. The probe is not helping. Okay, it is helping a little bit, but unfortunately Vince McMahon attacking the wrong ling. And now he does get taken out, but now that probe helping the brother behind, dealing a lot of damage. And all these lings are gonna die.
This is looking juicy for Bonyth, honestly. Like, just such a sick trade, and the most important part is that he sees the lair. He sees there's no Hydra then. He is killing drones. Look at the supply, dude. Zerg's already... Oh my god, that core is done. The lair just started. Stargate's gonna be coming anytime now. This is just a nightmare situation for Zerg.
Yeah, Bonyth has got the wheel out for sure. He's definitely in the driver's seat. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see a Citadel come down at the natural and for him to just run at him. Nat gas has come down pretty well. Actually, supplies are kind of high for the nat gas, but that Nexus just finished. So he is instantly putting down the gas. Stargate goes down in the main. Everything looks normal, but with the cannon and zealots in position, these lings are going to do no damage. So now Sziky has to start droning like a madman to start catching up. Now, if you were Protoss in this situation, after the Stargate, what's your follow-up? Obviously Citadel, but what I mean is like Gateway Flood, or are we going to see Templar Archive?
I don't know, dude. I've been told time and time again I'm not a Protoss expert, so
Okay.
I don't really want to give false information to the chat here, but
Okay,
I will
well,
say this. Even to my newbie eyes here, it seems like Bonyth is in a good position.
Yeah, this is what my follow-up would be, as I was expecting to see 3 more gates come down. I don't want to see the fast Templar Archive. I think it kind of lets the game stabilize for Sziky. Keep pressure on this guy, and the gateways I don't think were scouted, so for now Sziky doesn't know whether it's going to be fast Archive or what it's going to be. But Bonyth did just instantly get speed. He did not get that Templar Archive just yet, so he is going to run at him in about a minute and a half from now.
Run down mid, boys.
Yeah, run it down mid. That's what a lot of my teammates do.
That's right. You've been playing League recently. And that was supposed to be a Dota reference because that's what people do in Dota, but you know, I guess they kind of do it in League. In League, they run it down their lane, honestly, and if not, they just AFK in their fountain. But well, I don't know. We'll have to see. You know, Bonyth though, I will say this: Bonyth has struggled in the mid game, time and again in this matchup against Sziky, at least today. He's not really been able to convert any kind of advantage into kind of like a death push. Bonyth really kind of relies on either a massive advantage from the early game, as we saw this game, with his 6 stellar Zealot micro, or he grinds the games out in late game with his harassment. Mid game isn't really his forte, so even though he has a decent advantage again coming into this mid game, I just don't know if it matters.
Well, I can tell you what does matter: not getting supply blocked, and we do see a big supply block coming in for Sziky, who's already building a lot of Hydralisks. So that means that his drone production is going to be delayed even longer, especially with the block. He may even lose a second Overlord. No, Sayer is going to just run away for now. And Sziky realizes that danger is imminent, so he's continuing to pump out those Hydras, and every Hydra so critical for him. He unfortunately bleeds one off to a cannon. Now there's a 4 gates in total now for Bonyth. Losing the one at the Nat kind of hurts. So
Yeah.
this Zealot man running at you is not going to be as effective as it could have been. He's missing 1 Zealot in total.
Yeah, but you know, that's not enough. That's not enough Hydras to contest these Zealots here. +1 not quite done for Protoss, or for Zerg for that matter. Of course, Zerg usually has later upgrades, and because he's been struggling so hard this game, doesn't even have an evolution chamber yet. So this is actually so. I mean, this is so bad for Zerg.
Yeah, Zerg is just trying to make it weird, just running around, trying to buy time, but as he runs around, he's losing Hydras. He's already lost 2, that might be a 3rd one, and Bonyth doing such a good job with so few units trading quite effectively. Now he loses a couple of Zealots, and Sziky is going to push this back. That's a pretty fast robo, so he must be expecting lurkers, but this time around, Sziky might be going for a Mutaswitch. Remember, he lost both Sayers, and I don't think I remember Bonyth really ever rebuilding his Sayer count, so this might be a nice Mutaswitch coming in.
Man, I just read this golden comment from Team Think Quick. You know, when you asked me, we were talking about if you were Protoss, and I think that's Ox, right? He just typed, if he was Protoss, he would jump out of his window. I had to laugh at that, because I most certainly would. I would not be a dirty Protoss picker.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. This position is great for Bonyth, but the Mutaswitch could be devastating. Remember, I think Bonyth has just gone pure Zealot Templar with goons for a long time. Like, there hasn't been an Archon morph in the early stages. So these mutas could be what gets him back into the game. He's got maybe 7 Mutalisks to one-shot that. Wow, the mutas take out the Sayer, but critically they expose the Mutalisk. So now Bonyth can just sit back and wait for his Sayer count to build up, or more goons to build up.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, I would say it's a matter of time until Protoss pulls the trigger, but it's just not Bonyth's strength here. It's not his strong suit. It's not mid-game timings. It's not where he gets his advantages. Most of the time it's where he loses his advantages, especially against Sziky. And here we see Sziky kind of just grinding back into the position. Like, you know, he's equalizing the supply, okay, but this DT coming in here, and not just that, yeah, but Protoss has 1/1 upgrades, and I'm guessing Zerg's still on 0/0, so it's not looking good, but
yeah, not good, but I mean, it's a DT drop, and there's no Overlord in the main. For him to not take any damage, that's about as good as it's going to ever. Oh, that's not the storm that you wanted. However, the DT takes out the Spire. Can't believe that. And as you pointed out, the upgrades for Protoss are at 1/1. And I don't know what the upgrades are for Zerg, but that is 9-gate production for Protoss. But despite the opener, look at how well Sziky has recovered. It's 85 to 120. That's manageable for Zerg, but the upgrades are really lacking for him.
Yeah. Well, Bonyth finally moving out onto the map here. Again, light on the Dragoon count. I'd like to see him just make more Dragoons in general. Like, it's just always, like, he's making Zealots out of these gateways still. Like, I don't really understand why. It's not really going to help him in closing this game out. And he had such a massive lead. Like, Bonyth is just taking his third base, which is fine on Polypoid, of course. But you would really expect him to have run away with this game by this point, given that early game. And it's not like Sziky did anything crazy to, like, kind of gamble the dice or whatever. Looks like Sziky's going to go for an attack, though.
Yeah, this might be Sziky realizing that Doom is imminent and he needs to make a move. He's trying to bust this third base, but he's going to be attacking uphill. Luckily for him, there's only 1 Templar with 1 Storm, but I just don't see how you ever have a good engagement here. That's about as bad as of a Storm as Bonyth is going to have, so I think now's the time to go for Sziky if you're intending to attack this third base.
Yeah, but looks like he will get pushed back. I mean, that is high ground Protoss, and it's only Hydralisks, so, and it's also only Hydras that don't have upgrades against Protoss units that do have upgrades. I mean, they have +1. That is negated by the armor from Bonyth, and I suspect that Bonyth will have a quicker 2/2 timing, or at least a quicker +2 armor timing than Zerg has +2 attack timing, so that's going to be a good attack timing for him to go for. It looks like this counterattack is going to kill a couple of cannons, but no probes just yet. The Nexus is not going to go down. And Bonyth is just going to surround these Hydralisks.
Yeah, and that was really a risky move, because if a Templar was left there and it had 1 Storm, those Hydras were massively clumped up. He would have eaten so much damage. As played, though, he does, I guess, escape with some of the Hydras, but that was not a successful attack. Meanwhile, fourth base is going up for Sziky on the high ground at the mineral only, so he's going to have good econ coming in once that gets up and running. Bonyth somehow thought that he could take top middle with a probe, but Sziky was like, nah, that's not going to happen. And it is still okay for Zerg right now. It's 140 to just 100, but we do see that Protoss, or I mean Zerg, does have +1 weapon, so the upgrades aren't as bad as I thought.
Yeah, well, they're about to be though, because I feel like 2-2 is almost finished for Protoss, and if Bonyth is just paying attention to his forges and lines up his attacks with the completion of those upgrades, it will be really hard for Zerg to stop. It looks like Bonyth is just going to brute force his way up to the main high ground, but doesn't have enough storm. He doesn't have enough storm.
Yeah, but there's not enough units for Zerg. There's so many goons. Luckily for Zerg, the goons were fighting on the low ground, but he's on top of the fourth hatch, and he's within range of the lurkers too, and the goons do a lot of damage to the lurker eggs, so he should be able to pop all of these. Bonyth, right now, all he has to do is reinforce.
Yeah. I mean, Bonyth has so many Dragoons here, finally getting that sick ball up, and there's just no answer. GG's, good job. Sziky taps out. Bonyth wins it.
Yep, Bonyth, of course he's going to make it into the finals. That's just what he does, and he takes the series 3-1, but the first 3 games of today were wild. Easily somebody could have won 3-0 either way. Sziky looked good on Shakuris, looked good on Eclipse, yet somehow slipped away. So unfortunately, he does fall 3-1 and he's going to be eliminated, but he does make the top 4. So he's going to be automatically qualified into BSL 13, so congratulations to him. And of course, congratulations to our king making it into another finals. This is 6 straight now.
6 straight. I mean, incredible result for Bonyth. And we had sick games here between the two of them, but it looks like Bonyth just looked stronger today and was able to grind out all of the games in his favor, except the one on Tau Cross, which really he had just a terrible time on, but not the best of Protoss maps. So Bonyth will be the victor here, the first one to get into the finals.